Turd nuggets.
Fucking finger guns.
Okay, I think we've got nuggets and finger guns there. Well done. Welcome to Role Model Boys and Girl, where we're all not role models, funny enough.
Yes.
So, is everybody ready to roll? After
Yes.
that break?
Yep.
Excellent. In that case, I have just in case people don't remember, we have an excellent previously on done by our wonderful paladin.
Woohoo!
And if you have any questions after that, we can do that.
Bahamut, help me. Where do I start? A couple of nights ago, we woke after our encounter with Strahd, terribly bruised but somehow still alive. The party were all feeling a tad down in the dumps until we'd noticed that the little lad, Pip, had drawn hilarious mustaches on everyone's faces, except mine, of course. Forgotten had picked up the Devil's Sword following our battle, and Muriel identified unusual properties, while I discovered that it housed an evil presence. I suggested that it was too coincidental that he'd have just left it there, and that it must be a trap. But Forgotten was unwilling to listen to reason, and I didn't have the energy to impose my will. Moving onwards, we came across a similar wall and gate to the one we had first encountered when we appeared in this god's forsaken place. However, luckily, this was not the same, and we moved through it. Not long after, we were attacked. A group of scarecrow-like creatures with rusted knives for hands came upon us. I stood firm against them and almost single-handedly took them apart. Ismark impressed me with his swordsmanship, and the party also did their best to help. Bahamut bless them. When they died, the ones I had killed pointed their cruel, sharp fingers at me and said, "Babalisaga want you," before exploding in a green flame. The more enemies the merrier, I suppose. We rested a while before moving on and heard a faint creaking sound in the distance. Dax was tasked with investigating and was turned invisible by Audric. No good could come of this. Dax returned to us and let us know that it was a windmill. Ismark and Arena told us that the windmill's name was the Old Bone Grinder, to which I promptly suggested we avoid at all costs. That night was a little awkward. Following some tense conversations, it seemed as though the mists truly were getting to the party, with it seeming more fractured than ever. I made a heroic stand the next morning. I knew something must be done, and only I could do it. Using my charm and wit, I eased all the tension and made us all one big happy family. Nice job, me. While this was going on, Forgotten scouted ahead in his animal form. We reached the gates of Valaki to meet some very nervous guards, which is a fair demeanor to have in a place like this. We managed to calm the guards down just enough to consider letting us in before dark. The condition was only if they could inspect each of us. We called Forgotten over, and like the true master strategist he is, decided to arrive in an animal form, shapeshift into a human form, and then be totally undiplomatic. As expected, we were barred from entering, and warned that there will be hunters seeking to claim Forgotten's head. If I didn't have a feeling that we may need it attached to get through all of this, I probably would have delivered it myself.
And there we are. Thank you for that, Chris.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
That was
That's
great.
certainly some position to take it.
I'm so glad I had myself on mute. I was just howling throughout the whole thing. That was hilarious. Well done, me.
Yeah. I like this stream of consciousness. This is good.
Yeah, that's really good. Nicely done, Chris.
Thank you, thank you. Can I? Is Sarah there? Like,
Yep.
Oh, okay. I kept seeing you flash up, but I couldn't hear anything.
I think I was on mute and
Right.
laughing.
Okay, so as you head off and step away from the gate, at some point as the party set up camp for the evening, they notice an absent party member. As the group sort of settles down and whatever roles or duties that you normally fulfill at this time, you do notice that Audric has seemingly disappeared from the party.
The
Hmm.
fuck? Who's gonna set up the little tent thing?
The bubble.
The bubble.
Oh.
Well, it seems like we're going to have to go back to the old-fashioned way.
Ugh. Or go find fucking Audrey. Can I like looking about night goggles on? Like, can I see him at all, or is he just like gone? Like, is he off in the distance?
As night approaches and the mists close in, even in daytime, it's hard to see very far. But you cannot see neither hide nor hair of Audric. It has only been perhaps you've not walked far down the road. It's been a short time since you last seen him, perhaps 10-15 minutes, since someone can last confirm in the party that Audric was sulking as he tailed the party.
Oh, gotta go back.
I would
We
like
can't leave
to
him.
cast Locate Object on the buddy bead.
Yes!
Well done. You may cast that.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
I forgot about the buddy beads.
Mhm.
What's the range on that?
1,000 feet.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah, you can locate the buddy bead, and it's just at the. You can feel it beginning to fade. How far does the party go? Is the question. How far do you go away from the gate before you set up camp? However, you're at least within range of this. From what you can gauge, he appears to be back at what you can imagine to be the gate. He seems to have not really moved. He tailed the party for a short time. Perhaps you assumed that he was sulking. Perhaps you, as long as you were aware of his presence as a group, you could still see him. You weren't concerned. But now, Gallus, at least, you can see or sense that he is back at the gate.
We need to go back, or I don't know
Need
this.
to go back. We need to keep this party together.
Gallus, do you tell the party that you can sense this?
Yeah, I'll relay the information of where I can sense the buddy bead.
So
Well,
why would he go back to such an abominable place?
Forgot.
Gallus glares at Forgotten.
Because he's evil.
Can you just not be so abrasive for like
No,
2
why
seconds?
would Audric go back there?
Thank you. That's better.
That's what
No.
I said first time.
Maybe because our friends here need to get in there. This was where we were going. This was our goal.
Like we have to get in there.
Yeah.
I'm going
Well-
back.
Yes, well,
And-
I'm going back too.
Pip, do you want to piggyback?
Yes, please. Is Audric all right?
I'm sure he's fine. He's probably wooing a guard or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
You will.
I'm worried.
Kitchen woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he comes along and he takes your hand. Irina and her brother look concerned. As soon as they notice the absence, they've been sort of, since they got sent away from the village, they've been off to one side, seemingly having a small argument amongst themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Him taking the lead in that argument. You managed to catch a few words here and there. He's, even without, they're not being secretive about it, so the party, I think, can pick it up, particularly those with higher perception. He seems to be determined that she must be in there, and this is, they're going backwards, and she seems more focused on, it makes no difference, let's see where this goes anyway. So the party
Hey, you two,
turn
I'm-
around. Yeah, Karen.
Hey, you two. I'm sure you guys are arguing about the same shit you always argue about. We're gonna go back and try to find Audric.
And like he looks at you like almost startled that you've heard him. And she like turns and like does like a sibling pat on the cheek, just a little pinch. Looks a little pinch too hard. And then turns and follows the party and smiles at Dax. With a bit of a swagger. inner step, and the party begins to make their way back towards the gate. It's not too long before, through the mist, you see Aldrich approaching the party.
So, where the fuck were you?
Or wait a minute. Well, Aldrich, it's not too long before you see the party or hear the party approaching. What would you like to do, Aldrich? I'll give Aldrich the, because he's out there on his own at the minute. Aldrich's.
Oh, these
Did you just say these cunts? Is that what you just said?
guys. No, I'm not allowed to use that word. I said, not these guys.
Oh God.
Oh God.
How long's the video been running? When do I need to edit a word? Okay. We're at 10 minutes, 55 seconds, and I've said it already. Okay. Carry on.
I will walk and meet them and kind of gesture for them to stay there.
You use your hand to stop them in the road.
Yeah,
And I
And
will
I walk.
stop.
I'll walk over to them.
Yeah, as soon as she gestures for us to stop, I'm going to start looking around. Not actually moving from position, but having a really good focused look around. Because
Perception
I'm
check.
not liking this.
The night is closing in, the mists are drawing.
So
You notice nothing but Aldrich. How would anyone like to proceed?
I stopped when she told us to, and she motioned.
Aldrich approaches the party.
Why'd you stay? You need to stay together.
I
Yes.
really just don't wanna. I just don't want to be around you guys right now. To be honest, I've had enough. That's it. I tried to get through the gates. See if I could go find a bar somewhere, have a drink, drown my sorrows.
I don't
Just-
blame you.
Just don't want to be here right now. But here you are. Didn't work.
Nope.
There you
Did
are.
you at least find out anything more about the town?
Yeah.
I don't
But I
think-
don't think that I'm gonna repeat anything too near the gate. Just in case.
Okay. Let's head back. Head back away.
As the party now with Aldrich in tow. Aldrich, do you join the group, or are you keeping your distance behind?
I'll keep my distance behind. Very sulky.
In that case,
Very
Aldrich, you're
Noticing.
led to a trampled piece of ground off the side of the road. You can see someone has already gathered a little firewood. Pep already has a little rock that he's picked. As you get back, he, with tiredness in his face, skips off and goes to just hunker down in this rock, waiting for the fire to be lit. Impressing that the party have already began setting up camp and come back to look for you.
oh, that's an excellent fire, buddy.
Mhm.
Double thumbs.
All thumbs.
Does the party carry on setting up camp?
Yeah, noticing
Yeah.
Audrich's demeanor, go up to him, kind of shuffle my feet a little bit. Don't look in his eyes, just kind of look at my feet. I'm sorry.
Shrug. Fine.
I know, we're just being a little. We're all being a little on edge, and I realize that I may have said some things that were not nice. And I'm sorry.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Then I summon Mage Hand. Triple
Okay.
thumbs?
We do double thumbs back. I can't teach
And I give him a big hug, and then I walk away.
it.
You're crushed in the embrace of the Goliath, who promptly
Oh,
turns
no.
and walks away.
And I go help Pip with rogue stuff until bedtime.
Pip's tired. He goes through the motions and the routines that you're trying to. He now knows that this isn't playing. This is a lesson. You can see it in his eyes. He's like, oh, this isn't fun. This is teaching. But he goes through the motions nonetheless. No less eager
Good.
for it. Would anybody else like to do anything else? The night is silent. The mist casts dew on your armor and on your face as it becomes heavy, as it does at this time of night.
I'm gonna just build the fire.
Easy enough done. Easy to for someone like yourself to ignite quickly. There's a fire roaring. Logs pulled up. Long rest.
Get a good stare into the fire. Yes, long rest.
Okay. Long rest. I'm assuming you've already all adjusted your character sheets for that.
Yeah.
I've readjusted since the locate objects.
Everybody can.
I'm also highly wary of the hunters that we are threatened with by the DM.
Everybody may. I was just about to say everybody may make me a perception check. Those that are on watch may make me a perception check.
I'll always be first for watch.
Perception.
26.
That's obscene. 26 obscene for any roll.
I rolled natural 19.
Rogues. Fucking rogues. Fuck bound
I
to
thought I was
accuracy.
bad with a +6 to my perception.
Yeah.
Expertise, baby.
Expertise, baby. What's that? The night goes off uneventfully. I was assuming we're keeping the same watch order, and I haven't been notified of changes. The last watch is Gallus.
Yes.
Gallus.
I didn't do mine. Hang on. Brilliant.
You've broken
I'm
the
too
DM.
busy.
You've broken the DM secret. It didn't matter that you rolled or not. I just wanted to make you all roll a dice.
Appreciated anyway.
Yeah, no, it does matter, but just not the Odric. So
I'm
as
too
the
busy sulking
as
to
the
notice anything else.
first, yeah, your perception, yeah, disadvantage in your perception anyway. Sulky bugger. As the night passes off, it's hard in the mist and the darkness, with the weight of sadness and perhaps regret falling over the party. Something that not all of you, but some of you have had, has been the companionship, and now that seems to be fracturing. There's a silence tonight that was not there before. Gallus's watch. The silence is broken with the first light of the pseudo dawn that lives in this place, by the sound of heavy cartwheels approaching the camp, not from the direction of Valakai, but from the other direction, from the road that you came from. You can hear the cartwheels as they hit the ruts in the road, and the clip clop of a single large horse. Distant but audible.
If it's distant, I'll just keep an eye out for it, like if it's getting any closer. And if it does get any closer, then I'll wake the party up.
It is, from your know of the lay of the land, and as a tactician you would, that there is only really one road that led here, and indeed the sound of the cart is impending. It's approaching. It's approaching the road that you have. I've said this, but I'm assuming you've sort of followed the road back and then camped off to the side of the road.
Yeah.
The distance indeterminate, but not too far. You haven't wandered off into the misty forest, I assume.
But I'm guessing this would either go toward so it's coming from Barovia, the village, or the castle.
You've walked a long way since you've been in Barovia, and you have seen other tracks that have come off. But yeah.
Oh, so there might be other settlements that we passed.
No, you haven't seen any major diversion in the road. I've already described and you've already seen. There's perhaps animal tracks and that you've seen, but nothing large enough for a cart. This old road again looks like it was once in much better condition. Any major, you've seen a cutoff whenever you passed the waterfall. There was a large cutoff. You decided to go to the right to go to the bridge. Whenever you met the carriage, there was another right turn that led up to you surmised or knew that led up to in the direction of the castle, and the road that you'd originally come from was indeed Barovia. But you've travelled a few days since then.
Always go right. Always go right.
Yeah, I'll alert the party that there's something approaching.
What?
You can hear the rattle of wheels as you awake.
To arms, men.
As you say that, Irina and her brother are on their feet immediately. Him looking a little more worried and flustered. He looks like he has not slept well. His Mark looks even more haggard than he did the day previously, which was more so than the day before that, and he never looked good.
Yeah.
I'll douse the fire.
The fire having already burnt down, as Mark helps you do that, begins kicking it over almost in a panic. Irina, sword in hand, is still almost casually rubbing her eyes. Oh, someone's dead.
Bye, Alice.
I just stuck my glaive through my neck, so.
Oops.
Yeah. If you wanted to leave the campaign, you could have just said you didn't need to commit suicide in the middle of the campaign.
I would bring Bismarck out. He was still in owl form because I haven't resummoned him as back in his bat form.
Oh, hey boss, how you doing? Whoo.
Hey buddy, we can hear a cart. Can you go check it out?
Yeah, sure thing, boss. Whoo.
Thanks.
He flies off into the distance, and then the moment passes. You hear the of these heavy ruts in the road, a sound you're all familiar with, and the clip clop of a large horse. Before Bismarck returns and explains, hey boss, some sort of cat, some sort of cannibal cat.
Carnival cart.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Painted real strange.
Okay. Bright, a lot of bright colors?
A lot of bright colors, yeah. I'm not so good at the reading, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. What does the horses look like?
4 legs, big head, long tail.
Great. Cool. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your help. And
Yeah.
Unsummon him.
Oh.
No. So I relayed to the group. So apparently it's like a carnival cart that's coming.
We're travelers.
The travelers, yeah. I can't remember what we call them.
Vistani.
Jinx.
Ironic. I want to go and
Okay,
see it.
I won't talk for the rest of the session.
Oh damn, forgot how that worked.
A carnival.
Might not be a carnival, it might just be a Bastani cart, but
Yeah.
if we want it.
How certain is the bat that it's a carnival cart?
He said it was brightly colored, and he didn't say anything about the horses other than that it just looked like a horse. And he said that he's not good at reading, so there's words, but he doesn't know.
It's not black, so I'm gonna go and investigate it.
Are you creeping
Marilee
up?
has been sitting, staring at the fire most of the evening, and she still is looking, staring in the fire, looking very sad.
Oh,
Crouch down beside Mary. Mary, can you take care of Pip for a second? I would like to go check out this cart.
Sure, and I will pull him next to me, put my arm around him if he'll let me.
Hi, Marielle.
Hi, Pip.
I'm tired. You look tired.
Me too. I'm tired too.
And
Dax-
before I head off, oh, no,
You heading
Pip?
off? You heading off, Dax?
just for a quick second. I don't want to leave Audric alone to go inspect a weird cart. So we're
That's
gonna
a-
go inspect a weird cart, and then we're gonna be right back. Okay?
And you're going to take
That-
care of me.
That's reassuring. Okay, Dax, I'll see you soon.
Okay. And before I head off, I pat Mary on the back and then give her shoulder a squeeze, and then walk off to join Audric.
Nod my head, staring at the fire.
As the two
On
of
my
you
armpit.
move off through the... Are you moving up onto the road and tracking along the road?
yeah, like following the sound of the cart.
Okay. So you're out.
I
Will you tell me what you're doing? How are you going about this? You're moving up onto the road and then tracking along the road on the heading towards this, or
yeah, like I'm gonna go and see the carnival cart. Like
okay.
I'm not
okay.
gonna sneak, just gonna
I think
swagger up.
I will
It's
sneak
I'm a bird,
behind.
it's a carnival, seems
Sorry, Dax, go ahead. As
I'll-
Audric swaggers off.
As Audric swaggers, Dax is gonna sneak behind. And if there's any bushes around, kind of just stay as hidden as possible.
So you're off the road. You're tracking.
Yeah.
You're tracking along beside him on the road.
Yeah.
Okay, make me a stealth check, please. Audric, make me a performance check for your swagger. I want to see Audric swagger. Got them moves
I'm gonna
like
wait
Audric.
for
Got
me-
them moves like Audric.
Oof.
it's not even very good.
I'm going to
Dax.
wait a couple of minutes for Dax and Audric to go off, and then I'm going to try and place the movement of the cart and try and intercept the cart, but stay in the tree line. I don't want to be spotted.
Okay, make me a perception check, and a stealth check versus, yeah, and a stealth check. Perception and the stealth. Audric, or Dax, as you move off, you notice that like you're creeping through. You're keeping an eye on Audric. The mist, you cannot afford to get too far from the side of the track if you wish to keep Audric within your sight. That's up to you.
Yeah.
But as you do, you notice Audric's taking on almost like a haughty gait. As he haughty, maybe wrong, maybe a little bit defiant, maybe a little bit confident. For to be walking towards any strange noise in these woods would take a certain amount of
Balls.
balls is what I was going to try and find a better word for, but yeah, a
Yeah.
certain amount of balls, and Audric
Swagger.
seems to have them. Swagger, yeah. Audric
Cool.
seems to be in a... You've not quite seen Audric before. You've seen Audric perform. You've seen him run away. You've not quite seen him walk into what must be the face of danger, certainly in this place. But he walks with confidence. More confidence than perhaps you've seen in him before. You easily track along the side, confident that neither he nor whatever is approaching is aware of you. You duck between bush and tree stump, Forgotten. It's easy enough to track where you suspect the cart will be coming to. However, you realize that the avenues, the animal tracks, and gaps between the bushes that as the undergrowth becomes thicker, that keep following Dax is going to be difficult without making at least her known.
I'm not trying to follow them because they're going straight for the road. I'm going off at an angle to where I expect them to actually get to the cart when they intercept the cart.
Which is on the road, obviously. The cart is coming along the road, and they're tracking. Aldrich's on the
Yeah,
road,
but-
and they're tracking along beside it. So you must be following them. You
So
must
in
be
my eye, I
following
was
them.
going diagonal to them.
Uh,
Because if they're on the road and walking along, I want to cut through the woods to meet where I expect them to meet the cart.
okay, so look here. Everybody look here.
Can we see?
So that this
Forgotten.
is the road from the best of your memory. We'll say the camp is here. Off the road a little bit. And these two have head out this way. Aldrich is, change colour quickly, golden for Dax in the woods, and I'll go nice blue for Aldrich. So if you're at that camp, you can't. There's no. You're either following them and tracking, and I'll go shitty brown for forgotten. You're either tracking along beside them, trying to keep up as these two other. As for example, Dax moves. You're either tracking along beside them. There's no way to like intercept them. You're coming up behind them. But you can still. But you get to a point where you realize you step on a branch and it cracks as you try and push through these undergrowth. You're familiar with the undergrowth, but in this time you've misjudged it. And Dax is moving at what would be a quick walking speed for anyone else, but managing to do it. You catch glimpses of her with 21 perception. You just catch glimpses of her large form. Popping her head bobs out of one bush to take a glance over at what you assume to be Aldrich's direction, and then disappears, and a moment later appears 15 meters ahead, popping out of another bush. And she can do at a running pace what you can do at a sneaking pace.
Right, okay.
But you can continue if you so wish, or take a wider berth. Aldrich, through the mist comes a large a draft horse. Heavy, its legs are as thick as your thighs. Its mane hangs long down its sides. You can see following it is this brightly painted cart. Not something that you recognize to be as the Vistani. And these large, brightly colored panels. This is more a mosaic, almost splatterings of color. You can tell just as it rounds the bend in front of you that there is something painted on the side of it, letters, but you can't quite make them out through the mist before it turns to be coming directly towards you. You can see the seat behind the draft horse where the driver would normally sit, but it is currently absent. This is perhaps 50 feet in front of you.
Okay.
The horse raises its head after having its head down for a long slog through this difficult road. It raises its head but does not slow and keeps coming towards you. Large.
When you say absent, do you mean like there's no driver's seat or there's no one on the driver's seat?
There's no one on the driver's seat.
Okay. So when it's 30 feet in front of me, I
Yeah.
will cast Detect Magic.
The whole thing is lit with magic. It would be. Oh, what else? Definitely illusion, and I always get, because I play too much Skyrim, I always get Skyrim and this mixed up. But definitely there's illusion, but there's also, what is the name of the, I know what it is in Skyrim, but the magic you would use to detect and predict.
Divination.
Divination, thank you. It's also lit with divination magic. 30 feet, 25 feet, and the horse begins to slow and
Is the horse lit up with magic, or is the horse a horse? Of course.
the horse the horse is a horse, of course. Nice, nice. The horse has a slight glow about it, but nothing compared to the rest of this cart. And the horse begins to like slow and comes to a stop in front of you. And the cart
I'll bring out
waits.
my copper mustache and I'll send Audric a quick message. Audric, don't say anything. Just know that I'm here in case things go south. And I'll bring out my heavy crossbow and just sit and wait.
I'm gonna say good morning to the horse.
The horse like looks at you, looks up at you, and goes, and then does that like head nod thing that a horse does, and then does like the one knee bended thing, like like bends one knee and like takes a few steps
Impressive
forward.
horse. Have you got an owner, or are you just travelling around by yourself?
And the horse,
I say it
and
loudly.
then like it does its head, like it does like a side head throw, as if like throwing, like directing you back towards the cart. Throws its head back.
I'm not going to bother reading the words because
You currently the cart is straight on to you, so you can't see the sides of it. You just caught the lettering as it rounded a bend in the road.
Okay.
You're in the middle of the road, and the horse is directly in front of you, eye to eye, as it were, about 30 feet off.
I'm going to knock on it. Say good morning.
So you're going to approach the cart.
I'm going to approach the cart and knock on it.
So as you approach the cart, the horse seems to pay you no mind. It sort of side eyes you as you approach, and as you come round to the side, you must clamber over the horse. You can see that on the side of the cart is painted in large words the name Rictavio, and underneath it in smaller lettering but no less bright and almost garish, Rictavio's Carnival of Wonders, in bright lettering, each letter a different colour.
Rictavio.
Rictavio.
Rictavio. So I will knock on it and say, hello, Rictavio?
Yes? What do you want? And you hear from inside, you also hear a deep gargling growl. Quiet, you! Quiet! Be quiet! I'm listening. Who is it?
A bard?
A bard.
The bard.
They all say that. Wait a moment. I will get my long johns on. I will be right out. And you hear like a sort of a clattering about, and at one point you're startled as like almost like a heavy weight is thrown against the inside. You hear a heavy snarl, and the whole thing, like almost something's been slammed against the inside of it, and the whole cart begins to rock, and the horse gets uneasy and sort of takes a few steps before settling down again. And you hear like a as though many bolts are being slid back from within, and you standing at the side of the cart here at the back of the cart, the door being opened. No, you stay. Good, stay. Good cat, stay. Wait there. I will be back soon. Okay? Good, good. I will have a little treat for you when I come back. There's my little and then, as the door slams shut. And this man, who I will find a picture for you, steps round. Give me 1 second, I'll find a picture. This character steps out from just round the back of the cart and says, "Hello, stranger. Ah, you do indeed look like a bard. What can I help you with?" Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can see him. He is dressed in this long, finely crafted leather garb. Large collar coming up behind. He's wearing these two, like, what we would know as like John Lennon glasses, like the tiny little circles in the center of his eyes, peering out over you over this long, drawn nose. He looks very finely, if a little strangely dressed. His garb is not something you've seen here before.
Okay.
You also
Is
notice that he
he-
has his ears are pointed.
Is he covered in magic?
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, speak up. You're not
Me and
trying
my
to.
friends.
You are not trying to sell something, are you? I do not
Oh,
wish
God,
to
no.
buy. I have everything I need.
No, actually.
Are you here to hear one
Actually-
of my stories? For I have no time for an apprentice, I'm afraid.
No, I am looking for work.
I'm afraid I'm not. You're not my kind of. Well, let's say I don't quite swing that way. I appreciate the opportunity, but perhaps you go
I
back
don't-
to Barovia. I will. Well, I'm sorry. You're just not my type.
I don't get it.
Aye. Apparently,
Okay, like,
apparently so.
I hold up my lute and go, like, performing.
Ah, you are a songster. I'm afraid that
Yeah.
my tales,
And-
I am a
I'm
little
an,
bit.
I'm an acrobat.
Ah, then I am afraid I can absolutely not help you. Forgive me the misunderstanding. These are strange times in a strange place. I am not one for singing. While I am somewhat of a bard myself, and sort of like fixes his jacket and looks a bit proud of himself, I am not one for the singing of songs or the roly-polies, as it were. I am a little old for that now. Octavio is more for the telling of the stories, legends. The difference is, my friend, and he steps up like almost face to face to you, my stories are true. And smiles, like lifts his shoulders back. He's very proud of himself. So, tell me, where are your friends?
Oh, over there.
Ah, yes, it's not for one dressed such as yourself, a bard, to be wandering the mists of Barovia. So your friends are in the bushes, no? What?
I don't.
How many of there are there?
I don't.
10?
I mean,
12?
I can't really see them. No, there's not that many of them. There's, some. We're
Some.
trying to get into Vallaki. I don't suppose we could quid pro quo a hide in your cart, could we?
Ah. First of all, well, no, because why would I do that? Why would Ractavio help a stranger and his friends who feel the need to hide in the bushes? Why would I help them to get into Valakai? I can tell that you are not one of these beasts that they are afraid of. I can sense that from you, but why would I help you? And even if I wanted to, I'm afraid we are a little full at the moment. Yes, there are some people do not. Well, you are a bard, you will know. Some people do not make great bedfellows.
Oh, forgive me. I thought that, perhaps I could help lift the spirits of Vallaki with you, since, I've heard excellent things
I am.
about the stories that you tell, and the joy you are spreading.
And he takes a step back, and his shoulders and his chest go up, and he begins to like rub his chin. Tell me, what do you heard of the stories Octavio has told? Make me a deception check, please, Audric.
I say, I've
Unless you can give yourself bonuses by leveraging the
Oh.
knowledge by leveraging the knowledge that
Ooh.
you have.
I will then say, while the guards say that you're
Yes, go on.
the guards say that you're a very talented bard, and that the stories that you tell in the tavern are joyful. They lift people's spirits, which apparently in this place is, no mean feat.
You seem to know a lot about Valaki. For someone who needs to be smuggled in. Tell me, what is the name of this tavern? And the name of the guard? What is the name of the burgomaster? What is your name, my friend?
The only name I know is Father Lucian from St. Andrew's Church.
You know the name or you know the man? They are two different things. Both with their own connotations, their own difficulties.
Well, then I know the name. As I said, I'm trying to get into the city. I haven't said I've been in the city.
Then how... You can see now he's getting restless and impatient. He begins glancing off into the woods to the side that he can see. The other side being blocked by the cart. As he looks uncomfortable, the horse begins stumbling, and you hear like you can feel movement as the cart begins to rock. I'm afraid perhaps do not wish to see another storyteller left outside. You seem an honest man, and I do not sense any how do you say? And he waves his hand, and your detect magic picks up that he is casting a spell. Does not detect any, how to say, evil or bad intent from you, but it is a strange request, you must admit. Perhaps if your friends, those of them that are hiding, that feel the need to hide, which is understandable in this strange place. I have been here only a short time myself. Perhaps if they came, we could discuss this over something to eat, perhaps.
Do I think he's lying?
You can make me an insight check.
I was going to say, do I feel like he knows that I'm there?
You can see him, from what you can see, Audric, through the mist, it's hard to tell. You can see him glancing about, and even without a perception check, he is glancing in your direction, but he's also glancing in every direction. He looks to be suspicious, but he's not looking at you. No. He appears to be, with the 17, he appears to be a little bit concerned, but not afraid. Ready, but not that worried. Curious more than anything.
And I don't think that he has ulterior motives. Like, he doesn't want us for breakfast.
Ulterior motives are hard. Why would he be here talking to you if he didn't have ulterior motives? But you can definitely sense his ulterior motive, from what you sense, is curiosity and interest,
Okay.
a little
There's
bit
no
of
malice.
confusion and bafflement. No, you with the 17, you certainly can't detect any malice.
Then I will turn round and say to Dax, "Come on." And do I know Forgotten's there? Can I see?
No, you don't
He
know
wasn't
Forgotten's
very
there.
selfie.
Forgotten's fallen back now, unless Forgotten has decided to make himself known. That was a choice he had.
Okay. I will tell Dax to come out.
Daxel will probably have noticed me, but other than that,
I don't think. Well, that was the you were at the range. I give you the choice to press on would be to be noticed, and you decided to stop. Or you said no further. So
yeah, fair enough.
I will apprehensively come out of the bushes and join Audric.
as soon as you step out of the bushes, and he sort of lifts this walking cane that he's got. He like instinctively raises it slightly and then lowers it again and says, Goliath, it has been many a moon since I have seen a Goliath. And the rest of your friends, they are
They're
hiding
back
on
at
this side of the
camp.
road, no? The standard
No.
circlement?
We
No,
have
it's-
we have a camp. You're welcome to come and have breakfast with us. And as you can see, and I gesture at Dax, we have issues getting into the city.
Ah, yes. I had not issues that were not dissimilar, and he sort of casually scratches his ear. They are a strange folk. Okay. I am not
they-
sure how long you have been here, but they are a little cut off, shall we say.
I say wait
Very-
until you see the other ones.
Where are you from?
I am from not Barovia. I am from the road. I am a traveling man. I am a bard of sorts.
That's a very vague answer.
Indeed it is.
Yeah, man, I've never met a bard who didn't bard it up.
It's certainly a unique
Then-
expression.
Perhaps you'll forgive me, my young friend, but some of us have been barding it up so long that we do not need to bard it up anymore.
Why do you feel the need to be so vague about your answer of where you come from?
Why do you need to feel the need to be so forthright? I am not sure what you could hear from your hiding place over there in the bushes, but your friend has asked me to smuggle him into the city of Valakai, a city he seems to know a lot about, a city which is almost self-contained, enclosed under the illusion that they are safe from that fiend which plagues this place. Forgive me if my manners offend you. You are free to go on your way.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's just been a long days.
Then
So many days.
perhaps I can see you are tired. I can see your friend here. I'm sorry, I'm not sure I caught your name.
I'm Aldrich.
I'm Dax.
Then perhaps you should, how do they say, take a load off. And he gestures towards this long bench at the front of the cart where the driver would sit. They could easily accommodate 3 or 4 people.
Will you come have breakfast with the rest of us?
I think I will. I am returning to Valakai.
Okay.
Let's get on.
And you step up. He sort of gestures, lets you get up onto the cart first, and gets up and sort of sets off to one side of you and says, "Very well, apples. Off you go." Claps his hands,
Apples.
and the horse like turns around and begins off down the road again. The cart begins up again. You can hear like as the cart sort of hits a couple of ruts as it sets off. You hear like a low growl from in the cart behind. And don't mind the kitty. She is temperamental, but she is fine. So,
Kitty.
where are you coming from?
That's a big question.
It is a question you asked me.
I asked you where you're from. I didn't ask you where you're coming from.
That is fair. They are sometimes the same question, but more often than not, they are not the same question. You understand my difficulty in answering now.
Sure. I guess where we're coming from is camp where we just came from.
That is, if you don't mind me saying, and he smirks and says, a little bit of a vague answer.
Not really. Camp is actually a place.
And your camp is close to here. We are not too far from Valakai, so I assume it must be relatively close. Normally,
It is.
you do not walk too far from camp. I surmise, if I may, that you have heard my cart coming, decided to investigate. Young Odric here, being a bard, was being a little, how do they say, balls out. And you, being whatever you are, were more balls in. I'm not sure they say that, but
Just wanted to protect my friend.
understandable. And at this point, the rest of the party hear the cart like approaching, having no information about this. Forgotten, assuming you're still out a ways from the camp. You see the cart approaching, and through the mist, and as you've got your keen senses, you can smell that. Even without your animal form, you can smell the party, and quickly see that two members of the party are on it as it approaches the camp.
Look up.
A wave.
Just you're far enough away from the road that you guys can just see a Marielle standing up and stepping forth from the mist and waving. Very well. So, what is for breakfast? And he gets down off the cart. Apples, I will be back soon. Rest assured. And the horse. And he almost leads you guys off. As soon as he sees Marielle, he just like confidently he picks up like a satchel that looks like it's got like a large tome jammed into it, and throws it over his shoulder, and takes his cane and sort of gives it a little flourish, and quite confidently, nonchalantly begins walking with strong, confident strides into the camp.
This is my new friend, Victavio, the bard.
He gives a flourishing bow to Marielle. Octavio,
Pleased to meet
not
you.
so much of a bard, more a storyteller, if you understand. It is a pleasure, my lady. And you, my good friend, and he turns to Gallus, forgive me if I stare. I have not seen one of your kind for some time. What brings you to this place?
A kidnapper.
A kidnapper.
And I'm
Surely it is not this kid, and he points towards Pep. This handsome young rogue here. He has not been. He looks like he has been napping, but not napped at all.
Oh, that's how it started. We couldn't let him go. He was kidnapped, and we chased him into the mist, and that's how we got here. Oh, and I'm gonna say, well, of course we'd come get you, Pep. It's their fault for trying to take you away.
I
And-
put my arm around Pip. We'll never let you go.
And he steps back and pulls out like a little notebook from his side and says, "Ah, yes, of course." And like looks between Odric and Dax and the rest of the party. Apart from Forgotten, have you rejoined the party now? Are you approaching, or are you still in the woods?
I'm approaching the cart. I want to investigate the cart
Cool.
before rejoining the group.
Cool. So as he glances and says, "Ah, perhaps I have misunderstood. Forgive me. I thought that perhaps," and he looks at Dax, and perhaps you had been waylaid by this bard. You had been led astray, if you will. But I see now that you are a group of what they call adventurers. No, you have come here to vanquish some great evil or find some great treasure. In this case, this treasure before us, this handsome young devil, and like nods towards Pep and like waggles his eyebrows. Eh? Eh? And you see Pip like like
Laughs.
doesn't know what to say. He's just like he just goes bright red. All his freckles disappear as his face just like is consumed with this redness. And a fine treasure you have found, no doubt. And what a brave army has come in your wake, young man. And Pip's
And
like Pip just goes hi, and then like hides his face.
Dax
I'm good.
walked over. I'm sorry. I tried to keep my arm around Pip or my hand on him, so he did.
Mhm.
So it's the only way you'd know that he's there. Yeah, I didn't need to say that. Dax came over.
Yeah,
Yep.
so we've got like
And
this.
Carla
He's
too.
Rictavio's now confidently strolled into the middle of the camp with Audric and Dax in tow, almost without waiting to be introduced. Has walked in and introduced himself, and is now got this little notebook, and you can see him like making notes and like glancing between Dax and Audric on one side, and Gallus and Marielle on the other. Like, yes.
I'm gonna nudge him. I see him taking notes, and I nudge him, and I say, "You want a true story? The story of how we got here and saved the handsome young chap here. White the tail."
And his head snaps in your direction, and his book. He doesn't hide the book from you when you come up. You can see the notes that he's writing, and you can read them. He's writing about he writes a bard and a Goliath, and beside the Goliath is beside Meal bard question mark Goliath rogue question mark and then female priest question mark dragonborn soldier. He doesn't hide this from me. He snaps the book shut. I am always happy to hear a tale. Understand?
You're
Perhaps perhaps we can
Take a seat.
exchange stories. However, let me say this: I know that being a bard is a fine tradition. You tell me a story, and I will not share it, for I only tell stories that I have experienced myself. So if you are to tell me a story of your adventures, then all I ask is that they be unblemished. I find the truth is better than the fantasy.
And I perk up at that.
I
Did I-
think that would be very fair, and I don't think that I have to embellish this story for it to be interesting to you. But how about we tell it the other side of those gates?
Ah, clever. No.
Hmm.
Did I
Just
see
about
where he
now,
put the
I want
notebook?
to-
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, then I'll just have to tell you about the time I seduced a dragon.
He raises his face, he says, no, and then turns away, and as you say that, he like looks back at you and like scoffs and like pfft, and then looks back at you and like you can see him like taking in your face, and then like glances up and down and says, perhaps. Perhaps you tell me the story of the strange scent that is approaching the group. Is that
Oh God.
what you're doing?
That's just forgotten. You can investigate him all you like.
It is not forgotten until you have at least told me. How will I forget something if you do not tell me it?
I know it's really confusing. It got me at first as well, but that's just what we call him because he doesn't remember anything.
I'm pretty sure his name is Horatio, though.
Horatio. Interesting. I did know a Horatio once. He was also a smelly man.
Maybe it's the same one. Hey, Horatio! Wait, is Forgotten with us?
No, I'm just about at the cart.
Horatio! This
Maybe
guy
it
knows
was
a
Yorick.
Horatio!
It is fine. He is holding his time. I cannot tell where your friend is, but I know there is at least one more of you. At least you are honest about it. Come, we will have breakfast. What are we eating? And he sort of sets a log down. He intentionally sits near Pip, and like sits down and says, "I hope your mother here is a good cook, eh?" And like glances at Marielle, and then like nudges Pip. It's been a long journey. Dax, or not Dax, Forgotten. You approach the cart. You can you hear Horatio, Horatio, being called from the camp, but you're too far away to see the camp. As you approach this cart from behind, you can see that there are bright colors painted all over it, but you recognize it to not be what you recognize as a Vistani cart, it seems.
Can I get close to the cart to look for anything that stands out at me?
You can
You know,
get.
is there any
You tell me.
any markings on it, or
Um,
any like damage or wear and tear that would suggest where it's been?
make me Well, you're gonna need to get closer first. You're at the side of the road. This thing is parked in the middle of the road. You would need to get closer to be able to make out. You can see Rictavio. You can see something wonders, but through the mist, you would need to get closer to make out specific marks.
Yeah, I'm happy to try and get closer.
You're doing that in a discreet manner.
Yeah, but I'm not
Stealth check.
quite going stealthing.
You're not quite. So you're
But
not. Okay.
I'm
What's your call?
looking about to see if he's around, and the fact that I can't see anyone makes me more confident to approach the cart.
Okay. Make
There
me
is
a perception check then. If you're not making a stealth check, you can make a perception check.
17.
Okay. You approach, you get within 20, 15 feet of it. Even not in animal form, there's an odd scent. You can smell the metallic tang coming off the cart, as though perhaps the paint. You can also smell some sort of the smell that whenever you have, in the time that you remember, you've had to set up camp, you've managed to have a bedroll for the evening, and you've come back in animal form and fallen asleep and such. That same sort of damp animal smell you can smell. The smell of a blanket long lived in by an animal.
Can I discern the type of animal from its scent?
No. With the 17, you know that it's the smell of fur, but it's an unusual smell. You've been hunting and trapping, and even though your memory is gone, some smells are familiar to you. The first time you remember eating a chicken's egg after awakening, as it were, you knew that it come from chicken. You knew that a chicken laid this. You know what the beast you were able to turn into, even though you do not remember when you first seen one or how you learned how to do that. You knew that that beast was called a wolf. This is a different smell, a smell that you do not know. As you approach, curious by this, nose in the air, and you catch yourself occasionally doing this, where you sniff the air as an animal would, especially in times like this. The wagon suddenly lurches, as though something big has thrown itself against the inside wall. You hear the crunching of wood, the scraping of metal, and the snarl of something inhuman. Upon closer inspection, you see the sides of the wagon here and there are spattered with tiny droplets of dry blood. At the back, as you approach from the rear, you also see an inscription on the door frame, carved small but neatly, and it says, "I bring you from shadow into light." You can also see that as he has, although you did not see this, there's a heavy padlock on the door, perhaps larger than you've seen before. The bar locking it as thick as your thumb.
So I'm going to go right up to the cart
Mhm.
and put my hand against the cart to see if I can feel how long the paint's been there. You know, if this dried blood is new or old.
Blood is
Oh,
little more than speckles and spatters. Another person would not even recognize it as any more than dirt spattered. It's went that dark brown way that dried blood does, but you can smell that coppery smell off it that has let you know. You don't know how you know it was blood until now that you can get that coppery tang. And as you put your hand against the paint is looks like it's been well kept, but
so it's not
it's
flaking
beginning to wear. It's not flaking, but there is cracks in place. You can tell that, and you'll know from traveling here that the heavy damp in this place takes its toll on almost everything, and it's beginning to take a toll. This wagon does not look new, but it does not look like it's been here long. You can see the door frame looks like it's tight to the door, as though it's all swollen with the dampness of this place. As you put your hand against the door, from the very bottom of the door, the slight gap, you hear this. And you see like a hot air puffing out from the bottom of the door.
So I'm gonna say, I wonder what you are in there. I'm curious, but I think it's best not to see until your master is ready.
You hear a low growl and a heavy thump from the door. The padlock rattles in the door. Back at the camp, the party as they're talking, Rictavo. Ah, it appears your friend has found the cart. I hope for his sake he does not open it.
Hmm.
And we
Probably will try.
cut back to Forgotten standing at the back of this cart. A moment passes and the heavy this blasts as though something large is sniffing at the bottom of the door. But
How
seemingly calming.
big could the creature be? How is it like big enough for it to be a creature size up from me in the cart, or is it?
This creature is one size larger than me.
No, you know what I mean.
The cart is at least 4 squares big.
Huh.
I know what you mean. This,
There's no point saying large because large could mean anything.
yeah,
You know.
I know what you mean. It's definitely a large creature. You can tell by the amount of air. You can tell the amount of air that's being pushed through this tight gap at the bottom of the door. It is certainly a larger creature. It's not a, it's not a mouse. It's not a rat. It's not a cat. It's not a dog.
The amount of movement in the cart when
Yeah.
it threw itself against it.
Yeah, you heard a crunch when this thing hit the side of the cart. Gallus, what are you doing with a stranger in camp? He addressed you as he came in and said that he had not seen one of your kind before, or at least in a long time.
If he addresses me, I'll say, look, I've had a number of encounters with Vistani in this lands, and it's probably we best don't talk, otherwise I'm gonna set you off.
He says, you misunderstand. I am not a Vistani.
Oh, well, then we might get along. Greetings, I'm Gallus.
And he he falls back almost off his log and like puts his hand on his chest and laughs and shakes his hand, reaches his hand out and says, "And I am Rictavio. It is good to meet you." And he shakes your hand. I will say now, it's hard to do a German accent and the Vistani accent without just getting them both mixed up. But there we
No,
are.
Yeah.
it's not because of the accents. It's because I mean you seem to do like a more exaggerated Irish accent for Vistani anyway.
Yeah, thank you. Good.
So, yeah.
Yeah. No,
so
the Vistani are Irish, but trying to make everybody different. So anyway,
it's more just the color, and I think that's what Gallus would just think, like automatically. I think.
yeah. From what Gallus has seen of the cart, and that, yeah, and that's a cart in this area. A colorful cart is a fair.
Yeah,
assumption.
colorful carts. He seems like soulful, So like it's just like an automatic assumption.
He leans back and shakes your hand firmly and confidently and says, it is a pleasure to meet you. I am not
And you.
I am not a Vistani. I understand your weariness. They're not all bad.
No, they're not.
They're not bad. It's just we don't see it's just an oil and water thing, it seems.
No, you misunderstand. They are bad, but they are not all bad, if you understand.
Fair enough.
Some of them are, it is like, I assume, Dragonborn. Some are good, some are bad. But they have a bit of a reputation. Like, perhaps some other people do around here. And he casually rubs his pointed ear. I'm sure there are places where even a beautiful Goliath could go and be shunned simply for her form.
And I see the ear, and I say, "Oh, you don't look elven. Are you half elven?"
I am. I am what I am. And you, my lady?
A half elven. I'm
Which half?
my father.
Ah, is that your heart or your body? Is that your soul or your conscience? This is
And
a
I'll
question
laugh.
that plagues me. I do not understand this term. Half of what?
My father was elven. My mother was human.
And who do you identify with more?
Oh, both of them.
Equally.
You don't need to identify. You are everyone's individual.
Ah,
You don't need to follow your parents, though I do. I have found. Merrily is looking up and not as depressed and staring into the fire, and she's going to start like making breakfast.
and as you
getting
step away to
tea
say
on.
that, he says, I understand. Perhaps you are half-elven. I myself identified with, and he begins, as he sees your car, and he turns around, almost immediately going into the storytelling, and he begins addressing the rest of the party, seeing the Mariels moved off to the other things. I myself was more comfortable with my mother, who I get my elven blood from. Therefore, I think I am not quite half-elf. Perhaps two-thirds elf. I think it is. My ears are the least of my attributes. They get me in more trouble than anything. It is easy to be as my friend Odric here, more human. I think that is the standard nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm sure my Dragonborn's friend, you must turn ahead. No, Gallus?
People look at you, Gallus.
Around here, I
Yeah.
suppose. Where I come from, they're mostly Dragonborn, so we get along fine with each other.
And where do you come from? And he reaches for his notebook.
Well, out of character, what's the world called in the normal?
It's the standard Forgotten Realms, the Sword Coast, things like that.
From around the Sword Coast, if that's a realm that you're familiar with.
Ah, the Forgotten Realms, as they call them. He
Yeah.
pulls out his notebook again. Make me a purse. Where are you in the camp? I don't want to. We don't need a map. Let's to remind us. But where are you in the camp? You can be wherever
I
you
would
want.
say I was near-ish this guy.
Near enough to read his notebook.
Yeah, I really want to read his notebook.
Yeah, okay. Then you're near enough to read
I
his
don't
notebook.
need his notebook.
No. You can see that there's lots of, as he like thumbs through it, he like opens it and it's got like leather bound, but a flexible leather bound, and he like flicks through it like you would a flick book. But he stops at exactly the page and just flicks it open and pulls out like the little ribbon and throws it down in that page. It's a freshly clean page. With the 6, you can see that a lot of the pages have writing on them, but a lot of them also don't. A lot of them appeared blank. You can just see like characters and figures as he quickly flicks through it. But most of the pages aren't full. Most of the pages from the side you're looking at, you could only see the left-hand pages, but you could see that most of them were half a page, quarter of a page, half a page, quarter of a page, blank, 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 half a page, quarter of a page. It was just a black and white blur to you, but it is. If anything could ever be called a notebook, this would be
Yeah.
it. As someone
I'm
who's
gonna-
skilled with writing themselves.
I'm gonna compare it to my notebook,
Yeah,
and
it's hard to
mine
tell.
is
You suspect
full
he didn't have
of
any
stuff.
dicks. He didn't have any dicks drawn in his book. There was no
No,
boobies.
it's not where I pour my thoughts and my feelings and write plays and poetry, and it's just obviously just a mess.
Even with the
And-
6, given the Audric's background, you know that this is not a book full of prose. This is not a book of streams of consciousness. He doesn't. It's just little
This isn't
thoughts.
poetry.
It's little thoughts here and there. Yeah. All you seen was a black and white blur, but the page he opens is halfway through it, and you suspect that the first from the black and white blur you seen that the other half is not even half full. But the book looks old. The leather on it looks ancient. Everybody can see that, I think. And he begins writing down something on it, and you can clearly see this now. He has the book open, and he's not hiding it at all. And he writes Gallus, Sword Coast.
I'm going to approach the camp now. Now,
Okay.
satisfied my curiosity with the cart.
As you move around from the back of the cart and track along, you can hear the inside it as you're almost being tracked along the side of this cart, and you hear this coming from inside as you pass by the horse. You can hear this deep rumble from inside of it, and you pass by the horse, and the horse looks around at you and like blasts its nose out, and you get a face full of snot. Looks at you suspiciously for a moment.
Horatio, welcome back.
You then carry on. Sort of takes you a couple of minutes, and you approach the camp to a warm welcome from Dax. Ah, the traveler returns. Let me see. And he sort of squints his eyes as you come through the mist. Human, Goliath, elf, dragonborn. Perhaps I will reserve judgment on this one. He stands up and approaches Forgotten. Like he's comfortable in this, as if it was his camp. And he stands up and steps almost over the fire and walks hand outstretched. Before he comes within 5 meters of Forgotten, his arm is outstretched, and he approaches, and I am Rectavio. And you, my skulking friend? I hope my little darling didn't give you too much trouble.
By your little darling, I am assuming you mean the creature within the cart.
The creature within the cart. Many have called her that. She is a sweetheart, I assure you.
I am very curious as to what kind of creature she is.
She is a. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to put it. She is a companion, a friend. You are familiar with animals yourself, no? Surely one of your kind should know how.
My kind?
Yes, you are a wild man, one of the forest, are you not? Unless my senses deceive me. And he glances back to the camp and does a big flourish. Perhaps even Rectavio makes mistakes, but you are some sort of a wild man, no? You are like the ones that they fear, the Valakai.
I choose the forest over companionship.
Ah, this is a hard choice to make, and yet here we are.
So, your companion. So why do you keep a companion locked up?
I keep my companion locked up for the same reason, perhaps, that you might keep a wild animal locked up, or perhaps where you might keep a wild animal locked in, or locked out, perhaps. And he sort of like levels his gaze at you.
But surely the wild animal should be left to be wild.
There is a difference between being wild and having no purpose. I have been on both sides. I've never been wild, perhaps, but I've had no purpose. Sometimes one becomes too tame, and it is difficult to return to the wild. It is difficult to go back and understand how things work. I think my beloved is one of these creatures.
What does she eat? Can we
Yeah,
make her
ev-
breakfast too?
Everything. She is well looked after. We have a friend in the local tavern in Valakai. He provides ample food for her. She is not picky, but she likes her treats.
Oh, I've made porridge or something.
Perhaps she is more picky than I have alluded to. She would probably not eat porridge.
Well, it's got meat in it. It's from leftovers, etc. But yeah, wild animals don't generally eat porridge. But you're welcome to it if you'd like, and I'll hold that up to him.
And he reaches out and takes it from you.
Horatio, do you want any porridge? And I look directly at Forgotten, like, dead stare.
Yeah, Rectavio immediately looks at you too, and passes the bowl that Mariel just handed on him and says, "Yes, Horatio, my friend. Please, you first. This is your camp after all."
I will take the preferred porridge and go, "Why, thank you, but I do not know of this Horatio you speak of."
Are you sure? Like, Horatio seems like a pretty good fit.
Yes, I
But
think
you
I'm.
already know I do not know my name, so how am I supposed to tell you if it is correct or not?
I don't know. We're just trying to spark something here, Forgotten. I'm just trying, okay? I take out my notebook and I
Yeah.
cross out Horatio.
At the same moment, but you hear like, and both two notebooks come out. One of them's Rectavio's and one of them's Dax's. And you hear like Dax just makes a, and Rectavio, and the both books snap closed at the same time and disappear again.
Did I see
while
where?
this
Interesting.
Sorry, go ahead.
While this is going on, I'm going to ask Mary if she has any spare oats. Have you
Spare-
got oats?
Oh, yes.
Can I just like have a couple of just dry handfuls?
And I give it to him, and I pull them out of the stores, give them to her, and I look at the horse and I tear up a little bit.
I put them in my pocket.
Oh.
They're not for the horse.
Oh, okay. So I will then
So sensitive.
grab some oats and walk over to the horse. My hands cupped.
Again,
So
the
you
horse
will
is
too.
a good, like still a bit down the road, but yeah, you're able to go up on the horse as you approach, like, and like begins like eating out of your hand like a feed bag quite easily, and nuzzles against you as it's finished. It like begins like nuzzling against Mariel in this uncanny way you have with animals, and from inside you hear this like
Oh, he doesn't sound, your beloved doesn't sound like a wild animal.
Or you're away from the camp. The cart's still parked away from the camp. You can be at the
Uh-huh.
cart or in the camp. Can't be both.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, Rictavio, actually, you are
Yes,
very quick with the
Horatio.
notes.
Duck
What
Snickers.
have you determined of us?
Say again. What did you say? I missed that. Sorry.
You are very quick with the notes. So what have you determined of us?
Well, let me tell you. And he like does a flourish and turns around to the camp, as though he were about to make some big reveal in a murder mystery somewhere, and says, "What I have surmised so far is that you are adventurers. You have come here seeking, from what your friends tell you, even though you claim to be one who prefers the wild, you have this group of friends. They have come here searching for this treasure that they have found. Eh?" And he winks again at Pep, who immediately goes back to eating porridge. Like he smiles and then like shyly goes back to eating porridge. It seems you have found your treasure, and yet you are still here and seeking ways. I think, Odric, I assume there are no secrets among friends, so you do not mind me saying that Odric has requested that I, what is the word, smuggle you into Valakai. So, which leads me to believe that now that the rescue is complete, you are having a little difficulty. Perhaps there is something you do not wish to share with me. You have a greater quest beyond this. Perhaps the boy is not your treasure at all. Perhaps that is not why you're here. Perhaps you are all lying to me, but I do not sense any malintent amongst you. This is why I'm here. I'm
We're
curious.
just trying to get home.
Ah,
Your
so
Your
you are the same as myself. You are, how do they say, trapped here. Well, you're trapped in Barovia.
Ah, yes.
Yes,
You are too.
This is not a secret. Well, not everybody in Barovia is trapped. No. Yes, no,
Yes.
everybody in Barovia is trapped, except for the Vistani, of course. But while my cart might be beautifully painted, I would say a little better than those Vistani carts. At least with these ears, and he flicks his ear, you can tell that I'm not Vistani. So we are in the same cart, as it were.
Well, you say that,
I do say
but
that.
last time we met a half elf, he turned out to be a Dark Lord.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I understand. I understand, and this is perhaps the conversation I was about to initiate, but when you say Dark Lord, what do you mean? Forgive me if I judge your understanding of our shared situation.
Strahd.
Yeah.
Ah, that Dark Lord. Yes.
How many are there? Do you know of another one?
No, there is only one. Well, there are other Dark Lords, of course, but few who wield the power to trap people in a different world. This is quite new. The difference, perhaps, is you came here seeking a treasure. I merely was traveling. I trying to sell wares, tell
Your
stories.
intuition serves you well, but
Thank you. I'm well traveled
it
and
is flawed.
extremely old.
It is
No.
flawed. For you see, the treasure we came here for was never lost to us.
No,
Our young friend there never left our abilities to protect.
Don't.
forgive me,
This
my.
is
Oh.
bug.
I assure you, Odric, whatever secret you hold will stay behind these lips. I may take notes, but I only tell my own stories, and only with permission of those involved.
I am
Oh,
curious as to
oh.
what else you have taken notes of in this place. As you say, you are old. So how long have you been here, and what have you seen?
I have been here only a few weeks now, as the people of Valakai will assure you if you ever make it beyond the gates.
How did you get here?
By cart.
No, like
I am a traveler. I travel
both
often.
times.
I have seen the Vistani come and go. They appear and they disappear. I am an observant man. They travel like I do, peddling their wares. And I have seen many Vistani and many carts, but rarely do I see the same Vistani twice. On the few
So
occasions
you-
I have seen the same Vistani twice, and I have surmised that if I let me explain, if I leave a village on one side of the Sword Coast with important business on the other side, and I arrive and see a man who I left behind me coming from ahead of me, I begin to ask questions. It is strange that one who I should have left in my wake. Apples is not the fastest horse, but she is great stamina. As you, Odric, yourself have seen, I may go for a nap, go for a rest, and Apples will lead the cart safely to her destination. And yet, the men that I have left behind me come in front. I thought this strange, and I tried to follow this Vistani, having perhaps the same suspicions that my dear friend Gallus here does. And the mist came, and now I'm here, and now
Oh.
you're here.
Well, our entry was very different.
You did not come through the mist.
Well, we came through the mist, but we kind of had an invite from the vampire a year ago.
His eyebrows immediately go up, and he like reaches.
I'm going to interject and say, not me. I was not invited.
He reaches for his notebook and then glances, as you can see, like his ears literally prick up now, and he
I'm just gonna
reaches
look
for his
at-
notebook as though he's about to pull it out, as you've seen a couple of times already with that.
I want
And
to put
his
my
hand
hand on his
slows.
notebook.
His hand
I'm gonna
slows as it approaches, and as you reach for it, he like doesn't block you. Like he keeps his hand on it and says, "Yeah." He turns to Forgotten as Forgotten begins to speak.
Such a thing is not to be recorded.
I understand. I have heard of this vampire. I know little of him, I'm afraid, but the people here.
We have encountered him. I
This-
possess his sword.
Yeah, he narrows his eyes. You possess the sword.
Yes,
Might I-
the sword.
Might I see it?
Remember when I said I had this story, truthful
Perhaps-
story to tell you?
The morning is getting on. Perhaps we should start at the beginning. And who
Yeah,
better
it's a
to
long
start
one.
than the bard?
Unfortunately,
If you wish to hear the story, you must relinquish your book until the story is told. For no record can be kept of this.
He glances at Forgotten and says, "I understand your concern, my friend. However, I will also say this. Odric, if you wish to tell your story, you may. My notes I do not keep secret, but I will not hand over my notebook. I will
I'm
ship-
not requesting your book. I'm requesting that you place your book down and do not touch it until we are done.
My book will stay on my side. It will be obvious if I am taking notes. If you wish that I do not take notes, that is fine. I keep most things up here," and taps his head. I am a storyteller by trade. I remember. But I understand your concern. Here. And he pulls out the book and hands it to Forgotten. Your concern is not a concern of mine. Now, Odric, and he turns away from Forgotten and walks towards Odric. Now, tell me, we will start at the beginning, yes?
yeah, sure. However, we definitely need some help getting into the city. Whether you smuggle us in your cart, to be honest, might not be the best idea.
I cannot smuggle you into my cart. That is
But
impossible.
if you can help us,
I
get
can
in somehow.
perhaps
Like,
help you, but
I have a few ideas.
you can see him like getting frustrated. You can see now, like he's getting frustrated. Uh,
I'm frustrated.
however
I'm
curious he is, this dimension of the Dark Lord and things like that, he is eager to hear your story and how you did not come here simply by the mist. So make me a persuasion check, please. Not for what you want, but your. What did you roll?
Oh, Audrey.
9.
25 with advantage. Wow.
We rolled a 2.
Sorry, I got out there. Can you leverage that 9?
I'm only asking him for like help. He doesn't have to have an active part, but he can give us some information on like how we might go about getting inside, like once he's heard our story. Like we don't necessarily want him to help actively, but just some advice.
I personally have an idea for getting in if
So
Mr.
do I.
Rictavia
Freeze frame.
is okay with
Yeah,
it.
cool. Freeze frame.
Excuse me.
So as you look around, you can see that the rest of the party can see what Audric's doing, and you can see that Rictavio's on the fence. So now, if you'd like to
And
try and add to his roll. Yep.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Perhaps after he hears our story, he will want to help us. I think that he needs to know who we are before he decides that. It might be a good idea to just tell him the story first.
Mary is so
Sit
wise.
back down.
And you, Gallus, my good
Thank
friend,
you.
what do you think?
We the only person, and Gallus will like sneeringly gaze at Forgotten, that isn't allowed in the city, is our wild man friends. The rest of us were more or less granted permission. If you could only smuggle him in, that's all we'd really need.
Perhaps breakfast will be longer than we expected. Marielle,
Yes.
do you have more of that delightful porridge that you made?
Yes, I do. Here you go.
And he takes another bowl of it and sits down and pours half his bowl into Pip's bowl and says, "It will be a long morning."
And I say you have no idea.
I think we'll take a quick break there,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can figure out
Yeah, no
amongst
worries.
yourselves what you're gonna do.
I gotta go get a snack.
See you in 5.
Yep.
I was
I'm
going to
so
suggest.
tempted to flip through this book.
I was going to suggest that we disguise ourselves as a travelling freak show that's joined the carnival. Like the tallest woman in the world, and
Yeah, but surely they'll remember the Dragonborn and the Goliath from yesterday.
yeah, that's true. But also, I do have some extra information that I haven't shared yet, so let's.
I am
Yeah.
extremely tempted to flick through this book.
Don't.
I'm not going to, but I am very,
I
very
wouldn't.
tempted.
I
to do
wouldn't.
so.
I wouldn't anger him. I think we're just going to tell him straight what happened, and then I'm going to say. So let's just give it a go. My other idea is for you to turn into a horse, so the cart has 2 horses and then we can.
I do not have the ability to turn into a horse. I need to absorb a horse to turn into a horse.
Can you
No.
not just use like wild shape, like a CR, like as long as it's a CR2 or lower?
I need to have absorbed the spirits. That's part of the RP for my character.
Okay.
Or yeah.
What animals can you turn into then?
A few, but not a horse. A horse has not come up yet.
Can
That's
you?
why I tried to absorb the horse, the ghost horse type thing that we came across.
Okay. Can you anything small like
Yes.
a mouse?
Cats, dogs.
If
Small
you're, are you just gonna, is this out of character, or is
Yeah.
this gonna come up?
Yeah.
Like, if it comes up in character, you can have more. But yeah.
Yeah, a lot of small creatures, but you know. But as for an actual horse, I haven't come across a horse yet
Okay.
to absorb. So
Okay. Because that was the other. There's another idea. Technically, Meg. We'll get in. It's fine.
there is always the option of you guys going in and me remaining out.
Yes, that seems kind of boring for you, though.
Depends upon how it plays out.
Yeah, but yeah. I think you coming in with us is a better idea.
Yeah, that's the way it would normally go. Yeah.
But
But if I remained outside, there is always the possibility of me encountering the huntsman.
yeah, but also I think that if you can turn into other animals, I think that we'll be fine. As long as you behave yourself. And who knows with Forgotten?
The true challenge.
Yeah, Forgotten's a bit of a mystery, just about everything. I have no problem with you telling this guy the way we came in and how we got here. But as for the seer, I would recommend leaving that part out.
Oh yeah,
You
the Vistani.
you can say that now to Sarah, obviously, but to convey what Aldrich wants to do is up to him in character.
Yeah. And again,
I'm back just eating.
I have no problem showing him the sword, but I do not want any of this recorded in the book. But since he's handed me the book, no.
What-
It won't
What
be.
difference does it make
Well,
if he writes it in the book?
I know,
You
and
write
also
it
he'll
later.
remember. But anyway, we've done it now.
He might
told you.
remember, he might not. But if he records in the book that he has come across, and someone else finds the book, then it's not just one person who knows, it's multiple.
Sure.
But I mean, he's already written in the book that he's come across us, so
Why does it really matter if people
yeah, exactly.
know
It
where we
doesn't-
are?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like, we're a pretty eclectic, noticeable group. Like,
and Strahd
hiding
seems
isn't
to
our
be able
forte.
to find us anyway.
Because his
Sarah?
cart had writing on it, which has disturbed me. But you guys haven't seen that.
He does know the way of the words. He knows the word learning.
The inscription around the door has disturbed me. I'm not too comfortable giving him more information.
And maybe you should tell the group that.
Well, at the moment, he's there.
The writing on the side is like not that suspicious though.
Out of the darkness and into the light.
Yeah, that's not very suspicious.
Well, considering we are in a dark place,
want
and
to go
the
back.
vampires come
And
out
we want to
in the
go
dark.
to the light.
And the vampires are the creatures of the dark. To come out
And
of the
we want
darkness.
to get out of the darkness.
I have my suspicions that he may actually be working for Strahd.
If he's
Hello,
working for
welcome back.
Strahd, then we're fucked up already.
Sorry, I thought I muted myself to go and get a beer, and I just dropped out the chat completely. Congratulations. You can carry on if you like.
Mm.
I do
But-
have Zone of Truth prepared, so
I was going to also say that I don't think his notebook is dangerous, but the most interesting thing about it is it's not a creative's notebook. That's not a notebook of a storyteller, that's the notebook of somebody who's investigating things. He doesn't sing, he hasn't got any instruments. He's no bard, that's not a bard. Absolutely not. Not having that.
Everybody back?
I'm kind of bard elitist.
A bard
Was-
elitist.
Well, I mean, you have to go to college and everything. It's very exclusive.
I love it. Who's the bard elitist now? Is everybody back?
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly grab a drink. I'll be 2 seconds.
Interesting.
Isn't there like a college of lore or something?
It is, yeah. College
Yeah,
of Law.
so that's like historians more or less, though. You could
well,
be that.
it's kind of like the stories and like the like like old school actual real history when people would pass down stories through word of mouth, like fairy stories before it was all written down. That's how I see it. It's not necessarily being a historian or being knowledgeable, it's just repeating stories that you've
Well,
heard.
that's lore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what would be happening like today would one day become history and would need to be like, you know, I feel like like it's basically I consider them historians because they're
Wow.
they're the ones who know what happens before and they're the ones who retell it, right?
Yeah.
I'm back.
I see them more as films, I guess.
Well, this is back before films.
Dramatizations.
Yeah, dramatizations of it's like soap operas.
Yeah, it's
They do it for the entertainment rather than actually being truthful.
Well, there's many different types of bards.
Yeah.
True. But I've never come across one
Mhm.
that keeps a methodical notebook.
No.
That's
I don't think that's unusual for a bard.
it just seems more like a.
Some.
It seems like what it's reminded me of is a policeman, like a detective.
For a storyteller bard, I can understand them having a book to write notes in that they can then build stories from. But
But
he
he's
said
not.
he only told his stories.
He's not. He's not recording. From what I've seen, he's not recording anything about what's happening. He's recording facts. He's recording names and classes, and asking where we're from. He's not asking any facts. He doesn't seem to be particularly interested in anything but facts.
Well, shall we proceed and see where it actually takes us?
Yes, definitely.
Please.
DM.
Are we back on?
Yeah, I'm just
No,
looking
we
through the
won.
notes.
We won. We won Curse of Strahd.
You
That's
won.
it.
Yeah,
It's over.
You won the game. You had fun correctly, and you won. So, no, I didn't actually stop the recording there because that was fun. 1:55. Okay, so as you settle down, he settles down with another bowl of porridge and elegantly but quickly spoons it into his face.
I'm gonna hunker down by the fire and put his tome next to me.
Okay. So, tell me, Audric, if you say that you came through the mists, but that is not how you got here, how did you get here?
Well, and I tell him about the theatre and the vampires coming, and how we fought them off, and then how they kidnapped Pip, and then it was them kidnapping Pip. Oh no, I start at the very beginning. Oh, with the rose and thorn. That's where I start, because that's the beginning.
The murder house.
And the murder house, and I tell him about us three and William going into the murder house and everything that happened in there, and then we escaped. I escaped, then I escaped, and I managed to save my friends out because he was gonna take them to Barovia, and I got them out, and he said that he will be back. We have to go back and play with him. And then I will tell him about the theatre and the vampires, and they kidnapped Pip, and we were running after Pip to save him from the vampires, and it was because I was so amazing that Dax and Forgotten could go and get Pip and save him and kill the vampires, and then we found ourselves lost in the mist that way. Somebody came and kidnapped him, and then we found ourselves in Barovia. Picked up those two along the way. Probably want to have a little word with her as well, but that's not my story to tell.
So you can see that Irina and Ismark have been sort of setting off beside the camp, and still at the camp, but just watching this all go on. And perhaps a couple of times, Rictavio sort of gives them a nod and goes to say something to them, but they turn away as though not wanting to engage. But listening to Audric's story, he a couple of times as you're retelling this tale in a more long form, I would imagine, you can see his hand instinctively goes to where the book was, and then without glancing, without seeming surprised, his hand goes and sort of feels the empty pouch, and then casually comes back, and as though he were about to take a note. And this happens 3 or 4 times, 5, 6 as the story goes on. But he never loses focus.
And I tell him about when we fought Strahd here as well, and how I protected Irina, and how Ismark was sat on his ass, and how Gallus walked away from her. I make sure that I tell him that bit, and then I made him flee back to his castle. I definitely make sure that I tell him that bit. I definitely try and make sure that Irina hears that bit.
So are you performing at the moment? Are you standing in front of the fire doing this with a flourish?
I think that bit at least I probably would be.
Performance
Wind
check.
it up that.
Just so we can get an image of how
true.
epic this tale is. No. He is enraptured, and there's no doubt in his mind of his belief. There's no judgment here. He doesn't scoff or disbelieve. A few times his eyes go wide,
Gallus does scoff.
Yeah, I get that, and he takes that in too, and he glances towards Gallus, and then maybe comes back to Audric and then glances between the two of you as though weighing something up.
When Audric is going to do her performance, I will help her. I'm going to channel my... The hell is it? I'm sorry, I don't have it sitting out. It's one of my things. Performance, harness, cantrip, turn, knowledge.
So I would imagine when Marielle's looking for that
Skill.
The
10 minutes, you have proficiency with the skill. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I'm already very proficient in performance.
Yeah.
that's okay. If you roll an 8, you'll have a 10 or something.
I have a 10 anyway.
Okay. Well, if you roll a
But
Can I add that to my 10 and get an 18, whatever?
no, so Marielle, you're proficient in performance. Say, so how are you helping? What are you doing to help this? So the reason I'm asking for performance is more for a narrative thing. I'm asking. Rictavio seems to be completely engaged by this. There's a moment where he glances between Gallus and Aldrich, as though he's like weighing up that perhaps there's a different perspective on these stories, but you don't get the impression that he's doubting you. He takes it all in, and he sort of almost, you get the impression, Aldrich, it's almost takes the sting out of your story, that he's nodding knowingly, almost like yes, yes, like nothing seems to faze him as you're telling the story of these vampires and this. Occasionally his eyes go wide when you talk about having met Strahd, when you talk about having defeated Strahd, sent him back to his castle, things like that. His eyes go wide, but the rest of it he seems to take on his stride.
and how
that bit though is specifically for Irina, so I
You were breaking up a little bit there, but yeah. Hold, everyone's breaking up.
No.
Adam's struggling to reconnect.
Oh no.
There he is.
Hello, Adam.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi!
Sorry guys, I don't know what happened there. I just couldn't get to try and reconnect everything, but I couldn't get it working. But yeah, we're back.
It's alright. I've convinced Sarah that she now has to write a book.
Excellent. Wait a minute. I'll make a note. To edit that bit to 6. Okay.
Was it still recording when you dropped out, or?
Yeah, I just have to record and I can edit it out later because I thought it would take a second to get back in. But anyway, let's pick up. One second. 8, 2. Yep, sorry for those technical difficulties there. We're back. What would, did I miss anything?
I'm gonna write a children's book about a beautiful maiden and a poisonous green dragon.
Ah.
Named Gallus.
Well, you know, no names.
Yeah, so the recording was still going, but obviously didn't get that because you weren't coming through to me either. The last you left off was Gallus had just interjected, and Audric was making a performance check.
Mm-hmm.
And Marielle was trying to assist in some way. How are you helping Marielle?
And thank you. I will play the part of a enwrapped audience, like looking specifically at her, going and etc.
At Audric? Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Backing up my side of the story.
Yes.
Yeah, he takes that in. He observes. He glances at you as you do this.
Do I know what the DC is? No.
Make your performance check.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Okay. You're doing an enraptured performance. He is taken in by this, but then he was from the beginning. The performance check was more to see how much Audric put into this, but you get the impression that you could have sat in a log and told this story with your hands by your sides, and he would have taken just as much notice. He is curious. He does not ask questions. He does not attempt to interject, even in the few occasional moments where his eyebrows do go up, and he does seem more interested. Talk of Strahd, talk of the sword, talk of sending him back to his castle, talk of rescuing quote-unquote Irina and Ismark, who he glances at as this goes on. He is taking it all in, definitely very interested, leaning forward, but does not ask questions, just lets the story unfold. And when you finally get to the end of your story, which is now and here, and I assume meeting him on the road. He sits back and says, "An interesting story indeed. I have heard much of this Dark Lord. I am curious. He would make a fine story, but."
You want to help us kill him again?
And he like
You kill him?
slowly like turns his head to Marielle, like slowly, like wide-eyed. That so one of you has already told me that the boy was not the treasure, or at least that was not the whole story. Now I think I have most of the story, but what part of the story includes you killing this vampire?
We're trying to leave, and he's the one who brought us here, and I'm getting
What makes you
mighty
believe
tired
that?
of being here.
What makes you believe he's keeping you here? How sure can you
Him,
be, Marielle?
him, him talking, him saying we'd come back to visit him, and which what we did. His this is his land. Everybody speaks of him being the Lord, and it was the travelers, whatever their names were, that told us that they made it was because of how they treated him years ago that they can get in and out of here. So, ergo, it is him that is keeping us here.
And he says,
Q-E-E.
yes, I have spoken to the Vistani. This is a facet of this story that I do not fully understand. This Dark Lord, and there is no other name for it. I have seen in my short time here the fear, and surely only a creature of evil could trap people in their domain. Yet these Vistani have bestowed upon him a kindness, and he has shown them a kindness in return. That is most strange.
They said that he wasn't always like this.
Indeed. When you see his hand going again for where the notebook would be, before glancing over towards Forgotten and sort of hand casually moves away.
I'm just going to pat the notebook.
So, what are... and he sort of nods at you, like, and waves his hand as in, please. And he glances over, assuming that sort of Audric give us a quick rundown of the story she would have told, that he would have told, that I would imagine that would have taken an hour or so to perform correctly. And he glances towards Ismark and Irina and says, so you have come here for lack of anywhere else to go, and because this girl and her brother wish to feel safe here. Is that correct, Irina? And Ismark goes in to say something, and like steps up to like speak for the sister, and she just puts her hand against his chest and pushes him back down the log. And yes, this is correct. My brother believes I will be safe in Valakai. And you, what do you believe, Irina? I do not know what I believe, but it's better than being locked up. Yes, I agree. There is no enjoyment in being locked up. I have a friend who does not like being locked up. Every girl needs her freedom. And Irina like nods her head. So I will perhaps I can perhaps help the girl and her brother.
Thank you, that would be very nice.
As for your friend, our friend, and looks towards Forgotten, I do not know how we are going to get him in. I do not know how I'm going to get any of you in. The girl, the brother, or the would-be heroes. They have seen your faces. That was not a mistake. Valakai is... they like to believe, or at least some of them, that they are better off than the others of Barovia, but their fear is great behind the facade of festivals and colors.
If
So
they
how-
don't,
I don't think
If-
they're going to let us in, but if we
if-
could get those two in.
I have
Sorry, go
traveled.
ahead.
I have traveled a little, and our curious friend here, and turns to Forgotten and says, "You are one of their enemies, no? Or what they assume to be their enemies. You are." I am not so versed in all things as I lead on, but you are one of these wolfmen that they speak of. I can sense it from you. Let me say that as I detect my friend Gallus here, can, if you wished, know that what my truth is. And my friend Mariel here is very observant. I have certain talents of my own, and you are one of these
Again,
creatures. You are one of these werewolves that they fear. No? You are half man, half
again, your
wolf.
perception is flawed.
That as may be.
No, and he won't tell you, but I will. He's not one of those. He's a druid and can change into different animals, but liked to scare them and made them think that he was a werewolf.
Ah,
And sit back down. Well, I
I
didn't
do
get
not
up.
like that they have hunted wolves for no reason than fear.
They weren't wolves, they're werewolves.
There was also wolf heads on the wall.
Yeah, oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
how does one tell the difference between a wolf and a werewolf? Do you
The
The
know,
bigger?
mannerism.
Horatio? Do you know? You can
Mm-hmm.
you can
Even
differentiate.
when I transform into an animal, there are still traits of me that remain. I do not just become the animal. It is a part of me, but not the whole.
This
How
I
is new to
assume
me.
it is the same for the werewolves, that they do not become wholly animal, but still remain human traits.
And when you transform, do you attack villages and kill people? Do you take children and women in the night? Do you attack travelers and merchants on the road?
Literally the opposite. When he was a wolf, he saved Pip. Just told you that.
So, as my friend Gallus here does not, or did not perhaps, I hope, trust me for wearing a brightly colored cart, is it unfair for people of Valakai to trust one who would wear the skin of their enemy? For I have not been here long, but most of my time has been spent in Valakai.
My view is that the guards were totally reasonable in this
Mhm.
exchange.
And without looking back at you, he nods and lets you carry on.
It was a oversight of one particular person who has us sat outside the walls here.
Oversights are easy to make in a strange place like this, but I agree with Gallus. An oversight it was, and however much the people from Valaki might like to believe that they live in a village, they live in a fortification. Most of my short time here has been spent in the village, behind the very walls which they defend. I have not, ashamedly perhaps, not fought in these defenses, but in the few short weeks I have been here, many a night I have heard them fighting at the walls. You do not surround a town in wolf heads and keep those heads fresh, unless wolves are, or werewolves as they call them, are constantly throwing themselves against the palisades.
Talking of how we got here, you said you followed the Vistani, and why would you follow the Vistani?
As I said, their habits are strange. I am a storyteller, and while I tell my own stories, you would not have stories to tell if you did not pursue,
Goes.
Take a walk on the wild side.
So,
Yes.
as it were. As I
so
explained, I would leave Waterdeep, headed for Neverwinter. I would leave early in the morning or late at night. Apples would lead me through the day, and she would lead me, after a short rest here and there, through the night also. She does not require as much sleep as I do. She is a hearty beast, and yet I would get to Neverwinter and I would find those who had left behind already leaving. It made no sense to me that Vistani could make so much ground. They are a traveling folk, but they are also revelers. Those of them I have traveled with in my studies to study their peoples. They will set up camp for a night and stay for a day to enjoy the honey from the hives that they find, or the particularly good fishing of a river they have come across. And yet they appear to be going from one place to the other in almost no time at all.
You
I
think
wonder-
they're using the mists as a portal to
I do
get
not-
places quicker?
You are very perceptive, Marielle. I do not know if that is their intention. It is unclear. Here the Vistani are the same but different. Some of them are less favorable.
Here. Less favorable, did you say? The ones
Indeed.
here.
Not all of them. I have heard of tales of Vistani bandits on the Sword Coast, those who would offer a hand and cut yours off when you go to shake theirs. But it is hard to differentiate on the Sword Coast. People being shunned or kept out is normal. Here the Vistani are accepted, and yet that still persists. I still hear rumors of Vistani bandits. From my experience, they are kind. I have encountered a group on the way from Barovia, not only 2 nights ago. A seer and her group. They were
Yes.
most hospitable, very
You
kind,
met her.
curious to hear my stories, with many interesting stories of their own. Though, unlike my friend Audric and I suspect their stories were laced with a little bit of fantasy. The seer, as they called her, I could not speak to her. They said she was tired, that she had a long few days.
She
I
gave
s-
us a reading. Maybe why.
And again, his hand, you see his hand going to where his notebook would be. But this time it stops halfway, as though he's trying to break himself of this habit. And tell me, seeing is a private thing, but do you believe there is credence to what she says? Or at least credence to her ability?
Yes, I
I
do.
think it's worth following, at least, as we have no other leads.
Octavio,
Dax.
in your travels, have you come across these gates along the road?
The ones with the statues and the ravens.
Yeah, do you know anything about them?
I know that from my inspections that they are very old, and the damage that was done to them is not through natural causes.
Do you
Just
know
seems-
of their origins?
I do not. I am afraid that I have tried to press some of the villagers on such things, and they say that simply that they have always been here. They are not the most forthcoming, the Barovians. Hence my interest in the Vistani. They are more open, less fearful.
Hmm.
To me, the statues seem ancient, but
They
broken.
probably are.
A great undertaking, certainly, by whoever built them. So, I have heard such things of these seers before, and I believe that such people exist. My intention is to return to the one they call Madame Eva and see perhaps if she will speak to me. I do not wish a reading. I do not wish to know my future or my past or whatever it is she tells you. I think some things are better left unspoken, unknown. But let me be honest with my new friends. This is not something that is new to me. I have dabbled myself in the past. Things that are out with the natural order. Things that are... There are things that are understood by wizards and those of a certain divine intent. He sort of gestures towards Gallus and Mariel. And yet this seeing, this prediction, that is almost beyond almost all but the most powerful of those, either arcane or divine blessed.
I'm going to remove the sword from my pack and place it on top of the book.
Okay. He sort of stops mid-sentence, finger raised, and he observes you doing that quietly for a moment, and then carries on.
This is the sword that we took from Strahd. Our own group has determined some things from it. You say you have dabbled. Please, examine it. Tell me what you determined from it.
Firstly, while I am not unversed in the things of the arcane nature, I refer to dabblings in foretelling the future. It is not a skill I have, unfortunately. At one time in my life I wished to see my future, or perhaps even my past, and perhaps how one can change one's past. But I do not wish to touch your sword. I do ask you this. You say that you take it from Strahd. Odric, from what I can gather, says that Strahd left it behind. Which is it, Mariel? And he turns and asks Mariel, did Strahd leave the sword?
It was left behind.
And he sort of looks off into the mist and considers that for a moment. You can see him calculating and then nods.
You think it's a trap, like I do?
I do not know if there was a trap, but it seems strange that it is either not good, Gallus, or perhaps it means nothing. Perhaps he has a dozen of these, 2 dozen. Perhaps he can make them at will. Perhaps he has 1,000 men trapped in that fort of his, pumping these things out. But from what I know, since I've been in this place, if it was precious, you would already be dead. A trap I had not considered.
Some things are precious enough to keep secret.
And he stands up and he walks over towards where you have the sword laid out, and like kneels down beside it and considers it. And you see him like passing his hand over it, like almost like he's feeling for heat or something off it. And then he passes the other hand, and then he begins moving his hands over it. And there's you see like a glow coming his palm down, so you can't see his palms, but you see a glow coming from them. And then he like steps back and snaps his hands shut, still kneeling down beside it. He sort of moves back a little and says, "I do not know if this is a trap, but whatever this thing is, it is not good. I feel great evil within this object. I do not know if it is something that can help you or hinder you. Whether it is something you should keep, or whether it is something you should destroy, or perhaps something you should run away from, but I'm no stranger to objects of a magical nature, and I have never felt something like this. It is almost like it is everything here. It is like a person that has a presence, and at the same time it is like it is not here. It is like it exists somewhere else and I am merely sensing it."
Oh, great. So it's spying on us.
I do not know whether we are spying on it or it is spying on us.
Oh,
It
I
is.
can't see where else it is.
I wait for it.
So-
I watch it. It is as though it were, if it willed, could move at any moment. I do not know whether we are being observed through it, or it is simply observing us itself. However, and he stands up, and as he does, he picks his notebook up from underneath the sword and slips it back in his pouch. So, I have many more things to observe here. While I am here, I may as well make the most of it. I am willing to help you to get into the town, but I am not willing to put my own welcome at the town at risk. So, you are a wild man. They say you can turn into many different forms. Why can you not be a bird and simply fly in? Why can you not be a mouse and crawl beneath the gate? If that would even get your friends in here. I could perhaps speak to the guards. They are understandably fond of a drink. They come to the Blue Water Inn. They know me. They do not know me well, but I like to think I am well thought of. But even this risk is great. I might be shunned along with you. They still call me the stranger, the ringmaster with the pointed ears.
The guardsmen don't seem to have an issue with any of us except Forgotten. They were actually almost willing to let us in, had it not been for him.
But you are guilty by association.
Yes.
We can feign the removal of that association.
I perhaps agree with you, Gallus. You are as wise as I suspected. And with my helps that would perhaps work, but our options seem to be that we leave Horatio here outside and the rest of us attempt to get in. I make no promises, and I am still not sure I am making a wise decision.
What time is it in those?
It's where I would imagine we've been here for a few hours now. We're coming on to
Yeah.
maybe
Like
not
mid-
noon yet, but yeah,
mid-morning?
approaching noon, but not quite there yet. Maybe 11 o'clock.
Okay, so this morning the guards from last night are gonna be on the gate. But the woman, she kind of was like, yeah, just let him in. After you'd left,
Mm-hmm.
she was... The guy who was there didn't want to let us in. He was like, nah, he's a werewolf, basically, a wolf man. But the woman, she was like, you know, what harm could it do? And she even referenced this guy here and said, you know, he's nice. These guys are probably good too. So if they're on again, I think that we might be in with a chance.
What time were we there last time? I don't remember.
We were there.
Late evening.
Evening? Okay, well, let's go quick. And hopefully we have different guards, right?
No, it's gonna be them again. But I think that actually, if we go and say, you know, look, he's not coming in. It's just gonna be us. We won't cause any trouble. I think that they'll do it. I think they'll let us in. I
Okay.
think that there's a good chance from what I heard that they'll let us in if Forgotten isn't with us.
And Rectavio steps in and says, "The guards, they have my sympathies. They have a hard job. I understand. I agree with what you're saying, Odric. I think, well, they are intelligent men in their own right. What they react to well is dare I say, firm hand. I think I can talk our way past them, but it depends how willing you are to leave Horatio behind."
I don't think that we have to leave him behind. And I look at Forgotten and say, how small can you get?
Small enough to fit inside a bag of many things.
Then
Get
can you...
small.
Oh, Dax, do you have a pocket of many things or something?
Just be a raven and fly in. Why are we
I don't-
complicating it?
I don't
Because
think
be,
he
at
be
this
is.
your
point in
raven.
time, I don't have the ability to fly in WoW Trip. I need to level up to level 8 to fly.
Oh right, okay.
And he looks around Rectavio looks around the party and says, "I do not understand what you mean."
Be a rat and crawl in, then.
Perhaps
Can you...
Perhaps my curiosity is going to allow me to be distracted, but I've heard of people like you before, more than the werewolves. I have heard of such creatures but thought them myths. But you have heard of those who are in touch with nature enough to change at will into different creatures. So what is your limit? Why can you not be as my friend Gallus here says, be a bird and simply fly over the barricades? You will still be recognizable in your human form, but you may be a mouse in my pocket, a spider in my hand. Why? What is the difference, Horatio?
For me to become what I intend, I must have first absorbed the spirit of the animal.
So the animal.
The animal, spirit, and myself become one.
So the animal must die.
Yes. Its spirit will live on eternally within my necklace.
I have heard of people like you before. This is the first I have heard of this. This is most strange. Is this a ritual you must perform? Must you kill the animal yourself, or if the animal dies, then you simply take its spirit?
If the animal dies within a proximity to me, the spirit will choose whether to move on or allow the joining with me.
most
If the animal
interesting.
joins with me, it gets to see more of a life, but only when I require it.
You think that a bird, you can offer a bird more of a life than it could have on its own, an eagle. A wolf,
Most
a horse, a wild
the,
animal.
the animals I have taken within me have all been at the end of their life. In
Interesting.
joining with me, their life is extended immeasurably.
It is
But it is a
interesting.
choice the spirit must make.
A man who does not remember his name, yet knows so much about the will of animals. I find this interesting, Horatio. Very well. What, as Gallus says, what if you were to be an animal? A small animal. One that could fit into a pocket, a hand, a bag, a traveler's rucksack. What animal would that be?
Within a rucksack, I could become a small cat, a sizable rat.
And you can take these forms now.
Yes, but
And then our
I can
problem is
only hold
solved.
the form for a period of time.
What period of
Nothing
time
but
is that?
roughly 1/3 of the day. I cannot hold the form indefinitely.
And perhaps, many of the guards frequent the Blue Water Inn, but their
Get
lives are
along.
hard. I suspect if, as Mariel says, I would rather we are new friends, and I suspect you do not consider me friend, but perhaps being confined to a room for a few days is better than confined to the mists. You seem a confident man, but I've been here perhaps, from what it sounds, a little longer, and the stories they tell are of confident men whose ghosts walk the night and throw themselves from cliffs. So perhaps, for the sake of your friends, if not for my conscience, you would consider confining yourself to a room? Or perhaps, and I do not want to overstretch you here, but having a shave and a wash?
I nudge Forgotten and say I could knock you up a disguise.
As you nudge him, you hear, and you feel like you need to wash your elbow.
I use prestidigitation on it.
Yeah, you feel like your magic's failing
Oh god.
you.
It's spreading.
I think you are
It's alive.
you are distinctive enough in your current form with your patchy beard and your filthy hair that even a small change might allow you to walk the streets. They are well, they do not like to believe it, as oppressed as the rest of the people in this land. I think with a little bit of performance, nods to Odric, a little bit of subterfuge, and nods towards Dax, and a little bit of care, and nods towards Mariel. Maybe you can make a few sacrifices to fit in. What do you say, Horatio? If you are willing to travel in a bag for, it will either work or it won't. We will get turned away, or we will not. It will be an hour before we are in the Blue Water Inn, and I can take you to my room and you may stay there. It is nothing fancy, but it's enough to keep you comfortable. You will have fresh water and food. I will bring it to you myself. But I think
And be confined like your animal. I am a wild man. I am to be wild.
I can see that. I can assure you that sometimes to be confined is the best for everyone. And I hope that you are mature enough to understand that, as my Delilah is.
A sacrifice must be made. And then I get up and walk away from the fire. Away
Good.
into the mists.
You have made a good decision.
Let's
And
go.
Rictavio turns to Audric and says, "And here I am thinking that we were being a little dramatic, eh?" Like pats you on the shoulder.
I have no idea.
Come, let us go to my cart. Let us see what I can leverage at this gate. I think I know the guards you speak of, only he is going to come back, isn't he? He's going to go and turn into a cat and then come back. That is...
Do you know what? I have absolutely no idea. It could get... It's 50-50.
Horatio! I think you've misunderstood the plan. You need... Let's go to the cart. I think he will understand. And he begins like
Let's go.
walking off towards the cart.
Yes. I'm
And
packing up.
We can disguise you so you don't have to be locked up. If that's what you're
I
worried
think he's
about.
gone to clean himself.
Oh, has
Shave his
he?
beard.
well,
Wouldn't that be nice?
he still needs to get through the gate. I think.
I love how you guys are not sure whether I'm going to change into an animal or get
Yeah.
cleaned up.
We've
Yeah.
got
Or
absolutely
just
no idea.
leave.
or just leave. That's it. I'm leaving the campaign. It's not that I don't want to play with you. It's what my character would do. And I can't roll another character because I'd be doing dishonor to my previous character. It would cheapen it.
Yeah, I've already made my mind up as to what's going to happen, but you guys are just going to have to wait and see.
Okay, so
Okay.
well, we've got about 2 minutes to wait and see. So as you head up to the cart, and you all sort of gather around the cart, and he invites you to set up. He invites the ladies first to set up on the cart, and you can fit at least one other person up there. And he says,
Pip.
"Yeah, well, Pip can sit in the lap. You can fit at least one other person up there. Gallus, you're welcome to get up if you want, but he's gonna walk alongside the horse." He sort of pats the horse and, "You are such a patient girl, thank you," and like kisses her on the forehead.
Yeah, Gallus would walk alongside.
And he like turns and like puts his stick into the ground, his walking stick into the ground, and says, "Very well, come, Apples. Let us see what we can do for our new friends, and hope that our friend Horatio meets us before we get within eyeshot of the gate." And begins walking off, and the horse, like almost instinctively, walks alongside him.
I miss my Megan.
Yeah, me too. He's got all my stuff.
Yeah.
So we try. She's got. Yeah, I miss her too. She's got all my stuff. That's nice. She also had a nice head.
She's got my busy work.
She's got my busy work. So the party set off through the mist as even at noon the sun now rising high is piercing, but you feel like you're never going to get used to this dull yellow glow and everything, but you know that you're within 4 or 5 minutes of the gate, and Octavio raises his hand and stops the horse and says, "Well, perhaps you should wait here for your friend. I think to go any further would be impatient. Unless you believe he will not return."
That's 50-50, to be honest.
I would really like to go in.
Yeah, after about half an hour of me walking away, you see me coming out of the mist, still wearing the same raggedy clothes.
Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, I'm ruined up.
Completely clean shaven. I've even shaved my hair off, so I'm now bald.
Do you
And
still
I have
smell?
no.
Same raggedy clothes.
He still smells.
I will take from out my backpack. I have what's it called? I have fine clothes, and I'll give
Ooh.
it to Forgotten.
He'll really be disguised.
I thank you. But this is only temporary. And I'm gonna
Please try to shower and bathe yourself before you.
I got a wash.
Did you have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
wash?
but I mean, like, this is a continuous. Please don't like be dirty and then get. These are my clothes. I
Yes.
keep them.
You want your
Did-
clothes back.
did
and-
you-
I want them back, and I don't want them tainted forever. Thanks.
How good of a wash did you have? Forgotten.
A quick wash.
Quick wash.
Yeah.
Okay.
I cringe as I hand them over.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
as he
Oh,
reaches,
I'm
smudges
I'm
and
kind
dirt
of
and that off
already
me.
mourning them. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, goodbye.
as he as he reaches out to take them off, you can hear the subtle crunch of his robes.
Oh. Oh.
You're gonna make me puke. Please.
I mean, I've not like managed to have a full wash because to be able to have a full wash and shave would have taken much longer, and you guys are in too much of a hurry to leave.
Yeah. So you've had what you feel to be a thorough wash, and to you probably feel like you're the cleanest you've ever been. And when he comes out, he does indeed look like his skin is a different cast than you originally thought it was. He's not as dark tanned as you thought he
I
was.
am nowhere near as pungent.
He's no that's
I have no
that
rose petals on me.
for someone that looks as clean comparatively as he does still have the same stank round about him. He looks like he's had a wash. It might be his clothes or it might not be, but the stank still permeates.
It's only
Odric,
like a
perhaps,
week old onion, not a month old onion.
Odric, perhaps your bathe in a can spell might be a bit more effective this time.
Bathed in a can.
I really doubt
Prestidigitation.
it. I can try if he'll let me.
Are you gonna
Right.
press the Digivatchment?
Yeah, only if Forgotten wants it. But what I can do, Gallus, is when he takes the clothes off, I can clean them. That should work.
Yeah.
If that's what you're
Yes.
worried about.
I mean, just his general smell. So.
I did try and it didn't work.
But now he's actually had a bit of a wash, so it might be more effective this time.
Yeah, I don't want to do it unless he wants me to.
Are you gonna
Enthusiastic
ask me
consent.
if I want
Yeah.
to do this?
Yeah, enthusiastic consent. Very important. Do you want me to try and finish the job?
I suppose I have sacrificed enough coming this far, but a little more.
Sacrificing my smell. I've been keeping this up I've been culturing this for a while now.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I give it a go. I see if
Yeah.
it works.
You cast Prestidigitation on him, and for a moment, the air clears. The thick pall that has been surrounding you, that you almost didn't notice, disappears. And a moment later, almost like, not like a drift, like a snap, it comes back. And he stinks.
Yeah.
And
To
this
be honest,
this
it's
is
impressive.
you're impressed.
I'm not even mad.
It is. There's little things. While Prestidigitation has a limited ability, you know that this should be working. You should be able to at least cover it up. And
Maybe this
he
is
stinks.
part of his forgetting.
He stinks.
Do you still have the sword on you?
Yes.
Can you give it to someone else?
Can we try this inside the gates?
Yeah.
But
Yes,
they might recognize the smell. That's kind of the issue.
but my understanding was your friend here was going to turn into some sort of small animal and get into one of your bags, and that is how we're going to get through the gate.
Well,
As
now
I
he's
as I
a
as I say that they why take the risk? The guards may not recognize him, or from his
But they-
odor they might. But once
Or
you are away from the palisades, you may
This,
encounter
yeah,
one of them in
exactly.
the
You
street.
can come back in.
we have the same number of people.
Yeah.
He may look different, but we're still the same number of people. So
Gallus, can you be a cat?
I cannot.
No,
Yeah.
I meant forgotten. Horatio, can you be a cat?
Yes. Horatio, my friend, can you be a cat or a small? Also, Dax, can you stop rolling those fucking dice? It's doing my back.
Sorry.
Horatio, well, I take the
tapping my foot.
dice off the rogue. Can you be a cat? That is not a sentence I have said to someone before. Come on. You know you want to. Come on.
So I did all of this for nothing.
No, not
And
now
no,
I just
not
look
for
sad.
nothing.
Now-
Because
Not
when
at
we're
all.
when we're
fucking
in the
room.
city,
Now you
It
don't have to be
means-
confined.
you can walk around.
Yes. Now when we are in the city, you can walk around, you can come out, and you can meet people. You do not need to be caged. You can be free.
Just to get past the guards who
we
have
can we can
seen
take
all our faces.
we can take you out for walks. You can have nice treats,
Oh my goodness.
and you're a good boy. You deserve it. Now just, if you don't mind, well, we have business, and
You are insulting me.
I am jesting, my friend. I am a bit of a joker, and you are a good boy. Now, I am willing to take my reputation and put it on the line, but only if everyone in the party is willing to make sacrifices. If I am shunned from Valakai, which is, they say, the safest place in Barovia, I do not want to be thrown into the mists.
He's making a great sacrifice.
I hope not. I hope I am making a great discovery. A great
Yes.
story.
You just
perhaps.
wish me to transform into something that you have not seen before.
I have seen cats before. I have one myself. She is rather
But you have not
large.
seen a man transform into a cat.
I do not wish to see you transform into the cat. Go off into the woods and do it. I am... Forgive me for my impatience, but while I am happy to hear your stories, my intention is to get you through the gate, and then wish you well. I do not do well with travelers. It has not worked out well in the past. I worry that we have spent too much time together already. If you wish me to help your friends, then forgive me, Horatio, but either you leave, or I leave.
No, please. I'm going with you if you leave.
If you wish to find your own way in, I can lead your friends to the gate, and then you can find your own way later, but it makes me uncomfortable
Sitting
Me-
here forever.
being around people for this long.
Fine, fine, fine. I just morph into a cat.
Christ.
Yeah. So, what does that look like? Do you like do the werewolf, like your bones break and you turn into a cat, or is it just like a?
The Animorphs thing.
Oh, Animorphs. Nice.
No, it's a bit
Does it look painful?
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a bit like when I changed into the bear, the bones break and either enlarge or shrink, and then they seem to form quickly with new muscle tissue around them. And in my new form, I'm much, much smaller.
He is rapt by this. He watches the whole process without like a flicker on his face. How does everybody else react to this? You've seen him changing before, but watching someone's like bones crunch and snap and their face like deform and change as they shrink down,
Couldn't care less.
folding in on themselves. And you're
Dax doesn't
presented with
care.
this cat. What type of cat are you? Tabby cat? Tortoiseshell cat? Ginger?
Scottish Fold.
Scottish Fold? Scottish Fold.
Maine Coon.
Maine Coon would be pretty cool. That one.
I am a
Wait a minute, Robert.
brown.
Before you answer, check the Discord.
No, I'm not like that. I am bald now.
Oh no, you're a ballsack cat.
Yep, I am a Siamese.
Oh god. Rictavio goes, well, that was less pleasant than I expected. Until we got to the end.
Just flicker the tail at him and walk on.
He is not handsome in any form. It is a curse that some of us have thrust upon us. So, would... Stop it, Discord. That's forgotten. That cat is forgotten if I ever seen a cat. That one.
Yep.
Oh, that one on Discord. That is him. Leave me alone. I do not trust anybody.
You know when you edit this video, you've got to put that cat in the video.
Yeah, I will. Well, whoever does the next previously on, as long as you mention it, I'll put that in. Oh dear God. So, who puts them in their bag?
I will.
You pick them up, you put them in your bag, and Octavio immediately, you can see he's getting antsy now. He's getting almost impatient. He begins glancing off into the woods.
My foot has been tapping on the buckboards.
And he claps his hand, and Apples begins to pull the cart off. Make haste, Apples, and the horse sort of picks up speed as they come up to the gate. The two guards that you recognize from the day before, the man and the woman, step out and do the standard now. Halt! Who goes there? It is I, Octavio. I have returned. I have brought some friends with me. And they squint through the mist. And you can see them conferring with each other. And the man reaches for a bit. You can see a bell with a rope hanging from it, and he reaches for it, and the woman slaps him. She says, Octavio, we've been told that they're not allowed in. They have a wild man with them. And Octavio says, ah yes, they have sent him away. They've sent him away, but he was one. So they came here last night as his friend, and now they've just sent their friend away. Yes, I have explained the situation. They do not know. They say he is an ignorant man. He is a beast man, but he is not one of the wolves who you seek. No, I'm afraid we can't let you in. Come now. It is I, Octavio. We have shared a drink. I have bought you a drink.
Audrey, play something for Audrey.
Okay.
I have come. You know what joy I have brought to this town. My stories may not always be happy ones, but they're a distraction at least, and I bring my friend here, Audric. Come, I bring holy people. Look at this woman. Look at her face. Look at this man. Have you ever seen a dragonborn before? No. What wonder it will be. What a distraction it will be. It will be enough of a distraction that even the burgomaster will not bother us anymore. Come, my dear. You know me. I am Octavio. I've done you no harm. And you can see the man is saying, whispering something in his ear, and he's shaking his head. And she looks to him and sort of shoves him back. Oh, get out of the way. So, what do you have to say for yourselves? Octavio's words not enough.
Please, sir. I'm so tired. I need a bed to sleep in. These old bones can't take much more around the fire.
And we're here to help. You said that Father Lucien was looking for people, and that will be one of the first things on our agenda. We're just here to help. That's what we want to do.
And she says,
we mean you no harm.
Yes.
You have come to see Father Lucien.
Yeah. The last night's shift said that there there was some kind of issue that he had, and I'm more than happy to look at that and try and get that sorted for him.
Ah, you spoke with the Night Watch then.
Yep.
Deception check?
We did speak with the Night Watch.
No, these are the
Uh,
same people.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize that
okay.
they're the same people. I'm talking about the conversation that we had the day before,
They
where
went up.
they've actually mentioned that.
This is the same man and woman that you spoke to yesterday.
Yeah, and they mentioned that Father Lucian had a problem and
Yeah.
he was looking for people to help, which I'm just repeating more or less.
Okay. Yeah, they've come on shift again in the morning, and there's another night shift. Yeah, they and she sort of looks over the party and looks at Marielle and sees Marielle's shield with the symbol on it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if Octavio's gonna give you word, but no trouble, mind, and your friend's not welcome here.
We understand.
The people
We
here,
more than understand.
we have a reason to be afraid of wild men like him. We know that, well, some of us know, she says, sort of glancing off to this guy who's still like holding on to the bell cord. Some of us know that there are others who can do what he does. I mean, turn into an animal, not be an ignorant cunt.
Though, to be fair, I'm probably guessing those other ones also are ignorant cunts, to be fair.
Possibly. I heard they're normally quite nice. Nature
Oh,
folk.
really?
Tree huggers. If you want to hug a
Oh,
tree.
those ones. Yeah, no, those are okay. Yeah.
Generally. Crazy. Too much
Yes.
cheese and stuff. Anyway, I guess we can let you in. But
Thank you. Bless you, my daughter and son.
I think you've cost enough to think that if any trouble comes to this, it'll come back on my head. You understand? And she sort of looks at you like, please don't cause any trouble.
No, we're not stinky anymore. He's not with us.
Very well.
I
Raise
don't-
the gate, and the man steps up, and she just puts his finger on his lips in such a way that you can see that there's more to this than simply a guard relationship. They seem to have there's more than just guards falling out. She just like puts her finger right on his lip and goes, "Shh, open the fucking gate." And he lets go of the bell cord and like goes, "Open the gate." And from up the top, you can hear like a chuk 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 chuk, and the gate begins to open. And Octavio leads apples through the gate as you enter the town of Valakai at long last.
Yeah.
Well done.
Huzzah!
Well done. So you enter the town, and not unlike Rotavio's cart, this town is colourful. There's much more about it. There are beautiful flowers planted in flower beds along some of the sides of the houses. I'll actually go just drop you on the map, because I know it's frustrating not having a world map. So, this. You are here. You'll see that?
Yep.
Mhm.
And as you enter in, you can see that there are like flower beds planted around the top of these sort of low wooden houses. 2 stories at most only 1 story. They all look like they've been painted within the last year, or at least given a wash, like a paint wash. The flowers you can see, while the flower beds are full, they're not flowering very well. You can see the odd purple, pink flower head. Nothing seems to thrive. You can hear the town is a busy one. You can see people coming and going. It's certainly more lively than Barovia, but nowhere as lively as the places on the Sword Coast. And while this lifts your spirits for a moment, you can quickly see from the faces of the people, as the guards and as Octavio alluded, that it's a little bit of a facade to the town. And as you move into the town, what would you like to do? You can see down the main street for a ways. The mist does not seem to... You've seen it piling up against the palisades outside, and while it still permeates, it does not quite lie on the ground as it did.
How far in is the inn that you go to? What's your name?
Octavio, he says, it is in the center of town, the Blue Water Inn. Perhaps we should go there first to drop off our friend and see what we can make of him.
Yes, please. I'd like a drink.
Big time.
Yep.
Mary wants a drink.
Before, if
Yeah.
if the party is gonna go to the inn, that's not an issue. I would suggest personally I can take Ismark and Arena to the church, which was why we came here.
There's Mark and Arena who are you're sort of like riding on the foot the side of the cart has like little stands that you can stand on. They've been sort of like either flanking either side, holding on and sort of standing up, and they say, as Mark says, yes, please, with great haste. I wish to go there now.
Why don't you stay with us one night, and then you can go tomorrow. I'll go with you then.
I am grateful for what you have done, but this is the end of the road for us. I wish to go to see Father Lucian and drop off my sister. And as he says that, she like scoffs from the other side. Like you can hear like, drop me off.
Not to drop off, I think, but just to see at least somewhere that you can start making a life for yourself. That's what I think.
And she goes from sort of hanging on to the side of the cart and she like drops off onto the ground as the cart's still moving and begins like walking along beside the cart. And he sort of panics for a second, does the same, and both of them just like he's just like watching her, waiting almost as if she's gonna take flight, as they both walk along this flank the cart. As you pass through the town, you see very similarly that most of the people, all of the people that you can see, in fact, are human. The attire is similar fashion, the sort of long collared, fluffy cuffed style. Tall leather boots and long coats, but with more colour than you've seen in Barovia.
Cool.
They look, the children at least, the few children you see look like they're playing. They look happier, but you still do see the odd child sat on a doorstep just bouncing a ball with a deadpan face. You see most of the people, while they might be more colourfully dressed and these streets might be better painted, that their faces look tired. Even when they look up and smile at Rictavi when he smiles back, as soon as their smile fades and they turn away, their eyes drop and they watch the ground as they walk. I can't get.
Oh, it's a sad place.
I might be able to do something about that once I'm free of this bag.
From inside the bag, you hear meow, meow, meow.
I poke it with my finger. Jab.
Claw attack.
Jab.
I attack the finger like you would, like a cat would attack a hand moving under a blanket.
yeah.
Stop, mother. Ah! Can we
Would you like
deal
me
with
to roll
this?
the attack?
I like.
Roll the attack.
I
When you
like.
poke, you
I
don't
like-
leave your finger there.
Roll your
No.
attack. Roll your attack with disadvantage. Yeah, I like the fact that when I am a beast, I'm not taken over by the beast. I'm still myself. Oh, finger.
Oh, it's kind of like, would you like to be poked in the side for no reason?
I just want to see.
I was
essence
poking
on
you
it.
because you're meowing.
That's a fair reason.
Is there a militia?
You can see
19.
now as you come through. You can see that they're, from what you could kind of tell from the outside, the palisades have like platforms that lead up onto them. There's not a walkway that goes all the way around it, but there's large sections of platforms that people can walk up on. 19. You get a prick in the finger.
Yeah, you take 1 slashing damage.
You take
Um,
one piercing damage.
Do the
Right,
guards
slashing.
look well trained here?
The guards look, from what you can see, they look. There are some amongst them that look that you would have them if you were trying to form an army or a militia, you would have them amongst them. But mixed in with that, you also see men who look like they might have been
Conscripted or
conscripted, that kind of thing. It looks half militia, half armed force. Make me an insight check, Gallus, given that that's one of your things. This situation. You gather that these men, from what you can surmise as you sort of slowly follow the cart through, even as you move away from the fence and you glance through the buildings to the north and south and see the men mounting the palisades to either side, that they probably didn't start as soldiers, but after many nights of fighting and self-preservation, they look like they can handle themselves. They look well regimented. They look like they're, and from what you've seen at the gate as well, and the way they carry out business, they look like they're capable, if not
like they're
formally
drilled.
trained. They are, yeah. If they're drilled probably through with a 17, they're probably drilled through experience.
Okay.
As much as anything else.
Like not any formal training. It's just you just
Yeah,
keep doing this
no.
every day. So
You can see that the ones in the fence are constant. The ones that are standing on these platforms that are occasionally dotted right along the palisade, they're glancing out. They're constantly alert and attentive, but they're smoking a cigarette at the same time. They're they're attentive and weary. They always stay a foot back from the palisade even during day as they glance out into the forest, but they are smoking a cigarette, which would never be allowed, and they are chatting as they pass, which would never be allowed. Things like that. They are more organized than a village militia, but less organized than an army.
Okay.
Yeah, so as you pass through, you come to heading straight to the tavern.
I would be happy to drop off the party at the tavern and continue on to the church.
Yeah.
And I invited them to stay a night at the tavern, so.
Yeah, and as
If they're not wanting to stay, then I think we should all go too.
Yeah.
Father, what's his face?
So I'll give you an overview. As you pass through the town, you can see now to your side. You can all see the token on the map, can't you? To the south, you can see what looks like a large work area. The roads are less well tended here. It looks like a lot of storage areas. It looks like a warehouse area where a lot of things are kept. And you can see one large building that looks like a trading post of sorts, but nothing as grand as Barthen's provisions, even as humble as that was. You move on through the town. You can see, while this is the main road that goes through, as you glance down to the southwest here, you can see that this appears to open out into what would be a market square, the town square. You move along and you can see like a large farming area to the north. And finally you come to grey smoke issues from the chimney of this large 2-story wooden building with a stone foundation and a sagging tile roof upon which several ravens are perched, and you can see these ravens all like bobbling along the top of this building, all of them looking in your direction. A painted wooden sign hanging above the main entrance depicts a blue waterfall. And Victavio says, the Blue Water Inn, they are a strange folk. They are
Really?
almost a people unto themselves.
Tavern owners?
Yes, they are Erwin, they are by all accounts fine folks. They have been good to me. I've been staying here for some time. The short time I've been here, they have not been unkind, but yes, well, perhaps you will meet them yourself.
Yes.
I believe,
please.
Gallus, you said you are going on to the church.
Yes. Yeah.
I have spoken to Father Lucian. He's a strange man, but I believe him to be a good man. He has the interests of Valakai. He keeps them at heart.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for letting me.
what about you, my lady? And he turns to Irina. I do not wish to press you. If you do not wish to speak, you do not have to, but you are welcome. And Ismark steps in, and as you, these all sort of step down off the cart, and he steps in and says, "No, we must go. We are going to see Father Lucian." And Rictavio like puts his hand up and like puts it against his chest and says, "I do not believe I was speaking to you, my friend. Her brother you may be, but her owner you are not."
Thank you, sir.
And Irina like looks between Rictavio and Ismark, and like almost defiantly, a little childishly perhaps, like, and stomps off towards the Blue Water Inn and walks inside. And you can see he throws his hands up and like looks at the party, like looks at Dax and Marielle as if he's about to argue something, and Octavio like pats him on the shoulder and says,
Have an ale.
a little while longer will do no harm. Come, you look like you could need a drink. And something a little stronger. And leaches into the tavern, into the Blue Water Inn.
And we get in there, and I will put 5 gold pieces down on the bar and say, "Drinks on the house. Keep them coming, please."
So as you walk in, I can actually show you the bar. Boop, 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 boop. I can actually take you to the bar.
Yeah, I guess I should
Let's
see what it looks like.
Just check the maps, alright? Check that all the things are on correctly. Oh. You fucker. Oh, I need to get your tokens, that's what's not working. Sorry.
Hmm.
Give me 1 second. Copy. How bad of me. Paste.
To know how that works.
And I thought this was already set up. Give me 1 second, save settings. I'm gonna drop you under the page and you can tell me if you can see it, and if not, I'll just kill the dynamic lightning. Boop. So you should be able to see the common room now. Oh, I've got your tokens here actually. I was set up. Just picked the wrong token up.
I don't see.
I can only see a black screen.
Oh,
Black
there's
screen.
black screen with pings on it.
Right, okay. I think dynamic lighting hasn't broken, has it? Because there was an
Back.
update. Oh, here we go. Boom.
Oh. Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to use updated dynamic lighting, and it's the legacy still we use because it's better. So, as you walk in, you can see the tavern. Behind the bar, you can see this man with long, dark hair and this heavy, thick, shining black beard, who's standing, like, trying to shove this, like a, what do you call one of them, like a faucet into a barrel behind the bar. And he finally gets it in and, like, takes turns around and, like, shakes the wine off his hands. Bloody things. Always a mess. I will need to tell him to make the next shipment, if the next shipment ever comes. So, and he turns around. What can I? Ah, Rictavio. How are you? And Rictavio steps up to the bar.
And I step up to the bar and put down my 3.
Yeah, you slap down your money. Ah, my good lady. That is very welcome. I assume you are... Oh, yes, I see. Well, and you can see everyone in the tavern is now turned to look at this strange party of people walking in again. A couple of people like just stare at the Dragonborn. A couple of others stare at the Goliath. Uh, no one else can get a look in as these people just stare at the two outliers.
They didn't even hear the drinks on the house.
No, even that would normally rouse a stink.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. So there's damp cloaks hang from pegs in the entrance portico. The tavern is packed with tables and chairs, with narrow paths meandering between them. Again, all the tokens aren't here because the map would be crazy if you had all the tokens. A bar stretches along one wall under a balcony that can be reached by a wooden staircase that hugs the north wall. Another balcony overhangs the entrance to the east. All windows are fitted with thick shutters and crossbars. Lanterns hanging above the bar and resting on the tables bathe the room in dull orange light and cast shadows upon the walls, most of which are adorned with the head of wolves mounted on wooden plaques.
Oh wow.
With all the people that are staring at you, you manage to catch the eye of, and I think Marielle and Gallus see this more than anyone else. These two figures sitting at a table to the north, who are not so much aghast at these strange forms that have come in. Their eyes narrow and they squint at you. One of them has a bald head and a long beard. They're all wearing what looks like poorly, and Marielle will recognize this, poorly tanned hides, poorly tanned and patched
Poorly.
hides.
Mm.
Okay. They both look like they've been
Ruffians?
They look, yeah, not so much ruffians, but they do look rough. They look like men that spent more time hunting leather than learning how to actually tan it.
Yeah.
And yeah, you suspect that Marielle, that many of the heads on the walls are to do with these two men. You should catch a couple of the older men that are in their later years, as they're staring at these new people, or glancing over to see what these two characters are going to do.
I really don't think that Forgotten is gonna like this tavern.
Nope.
No. Forgotten, what do you think of this tavern? The walls
He's
are...
in the
As long as
bag.
the cat
That's
in a
right,
bag.
it's a bag and a cat in a bag. Yeah.
I'm not letting the cat out of the bag yet.
That's okay. If you don't let me out, eventually the wild shape wears off when the bag gets torn asunder when I grow in it.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank God you didn't put him in your pocket then, Dax. Yeah. Rictavio says, these are my friends, Erwin. I realize they are a little strange, but you thought that of me when I came, and I have brought no little business to your tavern, no. And the other guy says, Erwin, as you know him, the barkeep says, that is true. You're welcome, and your friends, as long as they don't make any trouble or cause any trouble. And he glances up towards the two guys that are sitting at the table at the top.
I'm sorry.
People were not welcoming to you at first. I hope they will be welcoming once they get to know your friends. So, where have you been? I sent you off with your supper 2 nights ago and not seen you since. And Octavio says, you know me, I cannot be cooped up in here all long. And then says, almost too loud, what a life would it be for one to be trapped all the time? To be locked away in a room. That is not for Octavio. I must travel. Otherwise, where else would I get my stories? And Erwin sort of laughs and begins like pouring these flagons of this thick wine that's coming out of these barrels and sets them on the bar.
Thick wine. How about whiskey, sir?
We do have something a little harder, but it is also wine. I would recommend the wine. It is difficult to get anything else around here.
Okay. You make this?
I do not make it myself. Well, I have a few barrels for myself, but we have a supplier, only he has not been so good with the supplying recently. I have tried to get my old friend Rictavio here to go and have a word with him, but He says he is too good for such a quest. No, Octavio? And Octavio is like, just like waves his hand. We have spoken about this. I am not a jobbing man. Perhaps my friends will help you.
Yes.
Why would you not resolve your own supply issue?
Because it is a few days' travel. Who else would travel there? And the owner and I, we do not get on so much as we used to. He is a difficult man.
Do you know him well?
You could say that. I know him well enough. Well, at least I thought I did. People change. Relationships change. You understand? It is a fact of life. Do you wish to help me on this, my lizard friend?
I'd need to know probably more about your relationship. I don't like walking willy-nilly into something that I may have no business in. Your answer was a little bit, um,
Hmm.
you know,
Private.
understated, I would say.
Very well. Let me explain more. Come. And he like draws you towards the bar and like glances over, and there's a couple of people like still staring at the party and get on with your drinks. Leave them alone. They are new here. So, and as you approach the bar, he like leans in almost conspiratorially, and then once his head gets close to yours, Gallus, he like cowers back, he like leaves back again, and, like you can see him like taking in your full thing, the full dragonborn thing.
I do like poses to kind of show it off.
Yeah. Do any of them involve lots of teeth? You do like a big teethy grin,
Mm-hmm.
or are you doing like noble? Are you doing
Oh
like
no, like
you
I'm doing like
fists on
side
hips?
showings. I'm doing like I'm showing off the teeth. Like maybe making like a breathing fire pose.
oh, oh, that's so good. Yeah, like someone's taking photographs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Strike a pose.
Poor Roderick's
Yeah.
gonna get really jealous.
Yeah, everyone's now
Finger
staring at the Dragonborn. You
I
hear
I
the
do.
occasional ooh and ah.
What if the poses his finger guns at Aldrich?
Yeah,
Ah,
he does finger guns at Audric, and everybody goes ooh, and you hear a couple of the women go ooh, and like begin to clap their hands.
I will kill you.
it's Dax.
Oh,
that
did you
has
see
the cat
that?
in the bag.
Oh,
Yeah.
he must be in charge of the little one. And the cat, you still got the cat in the bag, so you can hear this. You
Sure
can
do.
still hear what's going on.
Yeah, but
Forgotten.
it's Dax that has it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Erwin sort of like the barkeep leads you down to one end of the bar. He sort of puts the drinks out for everyone else and then pulls you aside and says, "Right, my supply of wine is nearly gone, and the next shipment is overdue. What say we come to some sort of agreement where you can maybe spend a few nights here occasionally, drink a few beers, a few wines on me, and you just go and have a word with the old man. The vineyard and winery is a few miles from here. Just follow the old Salovitz road. Him and I, our families
That's okay.
go back. You understand? He's sort of taking Gallus aside and he's saying this quietly to Gallus.
Okay.
We don't see eye to eye anymore. It's old friends, fall out. You understand? He's harmless. He's a bit grumpy, but as I don't have changed his accent now. He's harmless. He's a little grumpy. He's a stubborn, is what he is. Yeah, thank you. You understand? If you do
Yes,
not
I
wish,
can.
if you do not wish to help, I have asked Octavio. He has said the same thing, that it is not his place to be getting involved in such things. The villagers, they will not leave, apart from some. And he like glances back towards these two men to the north, and they are not the best, what I would call negotiators. You, on the other
Good.
hand, my handsome friend, you look like you might you have a way with words, I suspect.
I roll my eyes really hard at that.
make my go and make old Davian see that it is in both our interests if I keep selling his wine and buying his wine,
And why would it be in both of your interests?
because that's how selling and buying works. He does sell his wine to other areas. His wine is well known, but I sell more. People come to Valakai.
Do
They
you
don't go
suspect
to
that he's
Barovia.
doing this on purpose to you, or
Yes, we had a personal fallout, a disagreement. That would nothing that should interfere with business. Nothing serious. A dispute among friends.
and it's since then that he's stopped supplying?
Yes, as I say,
Okay.
he is stubborn. I think if I go there, it will only anger him, and it would take me to close this place and leave my family here unattended for a few days. I would lose the business, and I would worry about my family as they would worry about me. But if someone else were to speak to him, I think my going there would only anger him anyway. It would be a loss of profit for a little value. You understand? When friends fall out, it is hard to reconcile. Relationships are difficult.
It's almost worse than enemies.
And what would we get in return for all of this, if we do manage to help you?
Well, what are your intentions? You're travelers. You've come to explore Barovia, to stay in Valakai?
Yeah,
sort of
that's one of our intentions. Yeah.
Well, let me say that while you're in Valakai, you may stay here for free. I see there are 5 of you, 6, 7 of you. As long as you're happy to cram into, say, 2 rooms, I'm happy to give you those rooms. We are not a big establishment, and while I get few travelers, I do occasionally get lucky and get one interesting traveler or two. Like nods towards Rectavio. He's done a great turn. If you are friends of his, then perhaps I will stretch it to 3 rooms. But that will mean putting some of my family out of their rooms.
Yeah, that seems a bit unfair. But Is the party listening to this, or is it just like kind of hushed between me and him?
It depends how loud you're talking. They can't hear. He's trying to be discreet with his side, but you can be as...
I would try to I'd match more or less what he's talking. I'd be probably a bit louder just because Gallus is a bit louder in general.
Yep.
But like, yeah, I'd try and match his tone, I suppose. So if he's
Yeah.
being very quiet, then I'd be very quiet for Gallus.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think they can hear your side of it, definitely. It's quite a
Okay.
busy tavern. I can't get Cern script working at the moment.
If he can't hear, okay, so I'd say, well, I guess I think I'm being quiet and they can't hear.
Yeah.
So I'd go, well, I'd need to discuss this with my party, and see if it's something that they'd be willing to do. But as you say, I'm a master negotiator, and so it'll be easy to get them on my side. They are gullible.
And he laughs and says,
And we can hear you.
Yeah, you can hear me. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I will be very grateful, my friend. He is
I'm
a
just shaking my head.
Davian is a difficult man.
Drinking.
If you speak to him, I suspect, as you have before, no doubt, complimenting him is the way to go. Stroking his ego is perhaps easier than arguing with him. If you argue with him, you have already lost.
Oh, we're getting a speech.
Yeah. What'd he say? Something about the creatures?
No? Can you hear me?
Yes.
There's like in Cernscape there was like a
Cernscape.
dude that said something.
Oh, see,
It's
I
a
can't hear
conversation.
Skip. I'm trying to get it working. But that would have been him. I can't hear it on my end. I don't know. Burp, burp.
I can see it coming from the 2 ruffians.
So that's just coming to the end of our time. Have you got any anything else you'd like to do here? Anything else you'd like to gather?
I'm sorry.
Nothing that can't be the next session, I suppose.
Yeah. So as you settle down in Rictavio leads you off to a table to the south and says, "Come, before we turn in, let us talk. I wish to hear more of your story. I wish to hear about the seer. What did she tell you that so exhausted her? If you don't mind me asking. Now that we are friends. Perhaps I can help you understand. As I say, I have dabbled in such things in the past."
Who remembers what she said?
I've
Actually,
got all of
I've
them.
got-
So
got it written somewhere, but
have you heard? Well, okay. Have you heard of a wizard's tower on a lake?
And he like stops for a moment and looks at you and like almost like freezes. A wizard's tower on the lake. No, I have not.
Can I make an insight check?
Yes, you can.
oh,
Nice. Ah, all right. Well, fair enough.
Do you have inspiration?
I mean, like, if I had inspiration, then it wouldn't have. I would have to call it before, right? And either way, it would have been a 7.
yeah.
That's the well, no, because inspiration you wouldn't have to call it before. It wouldn't be well. I let you use inspiration to re-roll. You don't need to call it before, and it wouldn't have been a 7 because then
Okay. I would like to use inspiration to reroll in that case.
because Roll20 automatically rolls both. You can't use the second one because otherwise you would just go, "Oh, the second one's 20. I'm just going to reuse my inspiration."
So DM inspiration is not advantage. It's luck. The feat. Lucky.
You can
Kinda.
yeah, I would. Yeah, it's not.
Essentially, yeah.
I let you re-roll.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't
Okay.
think-
I'll use it.
You don't need to call it before because people forget about their inspiration. If you call it before, no one ever uses it.
I
Okay.
use my
That's
inspiration.
much better.
Yeah. So he is as he says that, and you look at him, you suspect he's withholding something. What is your immediate reaction, Gallus?
Rictavia, we've been honest with you. Can you be honest with us? I'm not quite. You look like you know something.
And there's still this sort of deadpan expression, and you see a smile creeping up in the corner of his mouth. Gallus, my friend, perhaps I do know something. Perhaps we should have a drink and a rest for the evening, and perhaps tomorrow. Perhaps. Once
Perhaps
we have,
you're not gonna leave though, right?
Perhaps once we have let the cat out of the bag and seen that young Irina is safe and that young Odric has not killed you in your sleep. Perhaps tomorrow I will take you to see a wizard's
Wait.
tower.
I feel like Gallus would probably be unaware of the death stares that Odric's giving him.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
you don't need
so,
to be.
so I'll like snap a quick glance over at Odric. Wait, what do you mean?
And Rictavio like and like leans back and like puts his hand on his chest and begins like ha 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 like belly laughing, and he's like he says it is good to meet true adventurers again. It has been a long time, even if our time together must be short. And
Why is that?
we'll leave it there for the evening.
Okay.
But you can pick it up right there next week if you want. So,
Forgotten explodes out of the bag.
yeah. Catapults out of the bag.
Catapults, a.
Unintentional pun. That was good. That was awesome. I enjoyed that.
Are we retiring to rooms
We should do this every week.
over the over the?
Should do this every week. Absolutely.
Are we gonna retire to our rooms between now and next session?
Well, if anybody else has anything they want to do, so it's still the middle of the day. You can retire to your rooms. You can't officially technically take a long rest, but you can retire to your rooms. But we can also pick it up here afterwards, or we can do like a biddly boop, biddly boop.
I think I would like to, before or while this conversation's happening, ask if I can go up to one of the rooms just so I can like put down my stuff, but actually take Forgotten out of the bag and kind of tell him that maybe he won't like this place.
You're welcome to go to your room. It is go up the stairs. It is the second on the left, and he reaches behind the bar and pulls out this key, and it has a large chunk of wood tied to the end of it, like an unreasonably big chunk of wood, like someone's going to try
So
and
he
steal
won't
your
steal the
keys.
key.
And in it is carved. There's like a large feather carved into it, and he hands you the key.
Mhm.
It is a
Yeah,
little
thank
early
you.
to be going to sleep. Perhaps you need a little catnap, no?
You're so funny.
No,
And
thank
then I
you.
go upstairs.
I learned from the rest.
Okay. And I go upstairs. And as soon as I get into
as
the
you
room,
pass, as you pass to go up the stairs, these two
Uh-huh.
guys at the bottom of the stairs are giving you a hard stare. These are two large gentlemen. The bearded man is almost a size with you in both girth and height, and they both give you a hard stare. While others look at you with fascination and some with fear as you pass them in tables. Simply, and you're smart enough to know it's because you're a Goliath. They do not. They look at you as though they're sizing you up.
as I pass by them, I give them my most charming smile and wave at them just to, be a prick.
Yeah. They just maintain eye contact and stare at you and keep sizing you up, and like listen to you as you walk behind them and sort of go up the stairs and thunk thunk thunk. They just turn their attention back to the party.
Cool.
Yeah, I'd wanted to check them out, see how they were reacting to us, and it's
So as you
sizing us up.
feel this busy tap room slowly settling down after the surprise arrival, and go from what was a noisy, chatty bar to a low, quiet murmur, or glances are shot in your direction, and people are whispering and spending as much time between looking at you and staring into their mugs, quote unquote, innocently, or like in a trying not to be seen staring at you, but being really bad at doing that. That's where we'll leave tonight's session. And in terms of like, yeah, you just want to talk amongst yourself and you want to sort of time warp ahead, you can do, or we can pick it up as we are. As far as I'm concerned, you're all still standing in the middle of a bar with Octavio at the bar, who I can't get to appear at the bar. What layer is he on that I can't get him to appear at the bar? Oh, there he is.
Alright.
There he is.
He's doing next
Um,
week's recap.
I will,
I cannot still.
but I
sorry?
need notes to do it.
Mine aren't very good, but you can have my notes.
Do you have notes, Chris? Like, I mean, for like, if you don't have notes, if you
No,
if you
I
want,
haven't taken a summary or anything like that. No.
if you're wanting, if anyone wants to do it, they can. But if they need notes, then they need to use their own notes or. Oh,
I
Yeah.
should.
I'll send you what I got.
Okay, thank you.
Stick it in Discord.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm happy for. I like this. People stepping up and doing it in character because it gives us all an insight. It gives you guys an insight that you can't use in game, which is so juicy and so lovely.
I think this one would be a good one for Forgotten to do, since he's been
Yeah.
essentially the center of a lot of this.
Yeah.
in a bag.
And in a bag.
my anger for balls of wool grows. I do not know what it is about them that angers me. I seen there was a red light on the wall today. I cannot stop thinking about it. It was there and then it disappeared.
Those fucking crows keep staring at me and I can never get them. They
Yeah.
elude me once again.
Yeah.
Something mysterious gave me a short shot stab in the side, so I attacked it in return.
Yes. I defeated the
Vanquish
beast.
that foe.
I've discovered that there is indeed one place that I like more than the taste of fish, and it is my own butt.
Yes.
Hmm.
Cat.
I need a letter tray, and there is only so much space in here.
Yeah. Oh, nasty. As you stomp up the stairs, Dax, you begin to hear like a dribbling from behind you.
No!
You're leaving a trail. And with that,
I would ask Victavio before we go quickly, since you're in a tavern and you're a bard, right? Surely there's going to be a performance that we can sit back and watch.
and he says, I am a bard of sorts. If you wish to hear one of my stories, I would be happy to share. Perhaps we
Oh,
should
that's
all
noble.
freshen up and see how our make sure that everyone in the group is okay, and we will reconvene this evening. It's still early. The place gets a little more lively. And
We'll
as
hear
long
the
as
story of the wizard's tower, I'm sure.
That is not what
Yes.
I asked.
and as you say that, he sort of steps into you, Gallus, and says, "Ha! The story of the wizard's tower," and pats you on the shoulder and sort of makes hard eye contact and says, "That is only a myth, my friend. There are
Of
no
course, of course.
Very well. We will reconvene this evening then. Once we are all back, feeling more ourselves."
I'm gonna ask for a bath, and then we'll reconvene. So I'm go up to freshen up.
You are not dumping
you
a
said.
cat in a bag in a bath.
Oh God.
Dunk it, pull it out. Dunk it, pull it out. Remember, that's how we wash dishes in Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
And pot of boiling water.
Lucky for you, Forgotten, Mary's not there.
And Rectavio turns and says, "We will reconvene this evening then," and heads towards the
Okay.
exit. If you do not mind, I need to go and play with my pussy. And on that note, everybody say bye.
Bye.
Bye.